Volume 1 is something which provides more analysis, debate and discussions. The question was that what are four major labor reforms, labor codes, and how they had influenced the labor market in India. That was main question. Like 1 year growth rate is growth rate if you have to see over the 5 years from 2017-18 to 2022-23. So there are case studies given from Karnataka, that how in Karnataka we got very interactive play schools. Uska bhi zikr economic survey ne kiya hai ki these kind of things are definitely going to be helpful, where technology is intervening us to provide better health facilities. Rural income mein I told you that NRLM is something very important. Non-farm livelihood, ye ek baar is baar unhone thoda focus kiya. Look at this board. Non-farm livelihood is something. Farm livelihood is there, rural area, that is fine. Cooperative Act, usse pehle 1904 we got Cooperative Act, 1912 it was amended. Then we got McLagan Committee which recommended for certain changes in cooperatives, and since then cooperative became something. Alright, so welcome you all. And I hope you already have a few sessions on economic survey, right? Fine. So now you are having an acquaintance with that what is this document and what is its significance. I think voice को थोड़ा कम करवाइए. Fine. So I will be taking care of two chapters, that is chapter number 11 and chapter number 12. Chapter number 11 is about that what has been social sector development by and large, and chapter 12 is about what about the skill and employment situation, position in general in the economy. But before I get into that, I would like to say a few things about economic survey. I'm sure you are knowing it, but then even just not leaving that stone unturned. You know, economic survey is what is considered to be a flagship document of the government of India. Since 1950s, it has been given. And earlier economic survey was just, you can say, the statistics that how the current financial year has worked. So current financial year, I hope you're understanding when I say financial year means a particular year, like we are in current financial year, which one? 24-25, right? Now, this economic survey provides detail of this current financial year, that what has been, is a kind of report card, that what exactly has been the status of economy and all. But again, did you notice one thing? As we are still into this financial year, and the report card has been issued, so how will get the data? So obviously the data is of only 9 months. 9 months data is provided, and for 3 months, that's why there is one thing you might have read in newspapers, and that's a very important document called advance estimate. So what happens in January first week, MOSPI provides advance estimate. What is advance estimate? Advance estimate is that what likely this quarter is going to be. So 9-month data will be here, and 3-month anticipation that probably this will be the fourth quarter of the economy. This is how it's going to be. And sometime you also notice that this time they have changed the advance estimate second time. So first they gave one advance estimate, and as certain things were changing, it was further revised. Now, at the end of the year, when the financial year will get completed, they will get a final data. That final data will be of the entire year. So economic survey provides us 9-month data of the current year, full data, or what you can say revised estimate of the previous year. That is, in this case, 23-24. So that's how we come to know that exactly what was the scenario previous year, and 9-month data this year, 3 months anticipation, that this is what is going to be on the basis of whatever advanced estimates are. Now, this economic survey, as I just told you, it started in 1950s though. Till 1964, it was presented along with the budget. And in 1964, we started presenting it one day before the, you can say, budget document, and I'm sure you are knowing it, that this is presented by Ministry of Finance, Department of Economic Affairs, and the Chief Economic Advisor is one who presents this data. However, this importance of economic survey has increased, particularly around 1994-95, when Dr. Sahab means Dr. Manmohan Singh, we call him Dr. Sahab only. So now those from D school must be understanding what I'm saying. So when Dr. Manmohan Singh was here, he realized that why not economic survey should be presented quite in line with the way IMF presents its report. You know, IMF presents one report called World Economic Outlook. Very important report. World Economic Outlook is something which is presented in 2 volumes. Volume 1 is more discussion, debates, suggestions to countries, economies, that what they need to do, some kind of anticipations also that how the world projection is going to be, and so and so. So volume 1 is something which provides more analysis, debate, and discussions, and volume 2 of the Global Economic Outlook provides the data per se. That's how, when Dr. Manmohan Singh became finance minister, it was thought, why not to present it in 2 volumes? And this culture started. In between, it was discontinued, and then when Raghuram Rajan, who has been already into the IMF, when he joined here, and he also insisted that we should be presenting into 2 volumes, and then Chief Economic Advisor thought, yes, it should be in 2 volumes. And since then, we got again this 2-volume culture coming up. Why I'm talking about this? What is the rationale? Because in these 2 volumes, the first part, which talks about analysis and debate and discussions, that is more important than just mere the data. Maybe in this examination, data is of not significance, not much significance except some vital data, that whatever the vital data is. But what is important is, in fact, if I could tell you, in prelims, so it may have limited scope, but in mains I can tell you, if this year's main, 6 questions were asked in main economy, 4 questions are directly from the economic survey debates. And that's why, though we are trying our level best, but still I insist that once the classes are over and when you're approaching for your mains, do listen to what Chief Economic Advisor is saying. There is 1-hour discussion, a talk presented by Chief Economic Advisor himself. All the questions, like this year there was a question on food inflation. He has talked about it. He has highlighted that why food inflation should be, because in CPI, which is used for monetary policy, the weightage of food inflation is very high. And that's why any change in food inflation is bound to affect us more. And that's why we go on back foot, we go defensive to make sure that CPI data is falling within the 2 to 6 bracket. This suggestion was given by Chief Economic Advisor last year, that why not to reduce the weightage? And the question as it is, that what do you understand by food inflation, how monetary policy is affected by this, and that kind of thing. Even he has clearly identified that why it is important to relook at millet cultivation. So the point I want to tell you, this discussion is very significant, especially from mains point of view. Like this year, if you see that as the Red Sea controversies are going on, and in India we don't make our own ships. That's the reason, and we have only Kochi shipyard. And now we are going to invest a lot. This advice has been given that we should be thinking of maritime, because still we are dependent on Hyundai, we are dependent on Merck, and these ships, they are overcharging now to us in the name of conflict zone, that we are going in conflict zone, risks are higher, so they are overcharging. What if we were having our own ships? So these kind of things, these kind of discussions are important. And that's the purpose here we are trying, each of us are trying to tell you more about those discussions and debates instead of just talking about the facts and figures. Now, when it comes to how to get maximum benefit of this economic survey, obviously these classrooms and a synopsis given by institution itself is going to be helpful. But at the same time, I think, sir, wo dusri wala slide, the second one. So that is how you should be also listening to those debates and discussions as said by Chief Economic Advisor himself. Now coming to my chapter, in this chapter, why it is important and what kind of question you can expect in mains, almost every year, one question revolving around labor codes. In fact, this year also, If you see in the previous economic survey, labor codes were discussed, and in mains you got question. The question was that, what are four major labor reforms, labor codes, and how they had influenced the labor market in India. That was mains question. So, कैसे- all right. So this is a document presented by the organization itself, which could be, in fact, one more trivia, and then I'll come to my chapter. Sometime even the page, the main page of economic survey speaks a lot. And if you go and see the previous year's pages, cover pages of economic survey, you will see questions has been asked on that. The V-shaped recovery was shown once, the blue economy was shown once. This time they are talking more about the integration. Integration, the cover page of economic survey is talking about integration, and there is due emphasis on manufacturing sector. Because AI is going to eat up jobs, no doubt about it. Economic survey is very careful about it, that AI is going to eat up jobs, and whatever reduction is going to happen, that can be better compensated by promotion of manufacturing sector in India. That's why due emphasis has been given. I think industry chapter you have done, and you have been discussed about that already, that manufacturing is now the savior in a way. Whatever we are going to lose because of AI, we can compensate it with the manufacturing sector. And now we have estimation that if India really want to be a developed country, in GVA, the contribution of manufacturing should be 25%. As of now, it's hovering around 14-15%. So unless until we are not making it 25%, it is, you cannot think of being Viksit Bharat. And why? Because manufacturing sector is something which can create those jobs which could be less affected by AI. So this is how even the cover page says a lot. When I talk about the chapter number 11, that is about social sector, let's understand something in the preview, and then we'll talk about the chapter. That, in 1970s itself, the idea of GDP was popularized around 1950s. There is one thing called United Nations System of National Accounting, UNSNA, in 1953, that gave methodology of GDP calculation. Since GDP became one of the representative of the prosperity of any country, so that is how in 1950s, which country is having how much of GDP, and so that was flagged, that was shown. But in 1970s, you got a very famous conference called Stockholm Conference, 1972. And that was the time John Rawls already has written about the idea of social justice. It was realized that a country's prosperity should not be viewed in terms of GDP. Why? Because GDP is not the guarantee that everyone is getting benefited by it. A country's GDP might be higher, and the benefits might be cornered by a few. So what is important is whether development is taking place or not. That is what you call growth versus development debate, or inclusive growth. If you go with the definition of IMF, IMF says inclusive growth means what? According to IMF, inclusive growth has 3 dimensions into it. That first, if you go with the IMF definition, when we say inclusive growth, it should have 3 things. First, it should be talking about growth itself, that you have financial viability. Second, it should be in terms of equality of opportunity. And when I'm saying equality of opportunity, it is characterized with both equality and equity. So equality of opportunity should be there, and there should be financial freedom. So if we could say in a format, inclusive growth or development has 3 visible components. First, listen to me carefully, then you'll understand why this chapter is being given every time and what is the rationale where you should be focusing. If you really want development, if you really want inclusive growth, first thing needed is that there should be right-based welfare. As rightly said by Marx, Marxist also, that everything should be given to everyone. There might be, you can say, incorrect completely or incompletely, but the point remains that there are a few things which should be given to everyone irrespective of the qualification of individual. Like food security should be there with everyone. Like, shelter should be there with everyone. Sanitation should be there with everyone. So there are a few things which must be given to everyone irrespective of their merit. There are a few things which should be given to everyone dependent on merit, and for that there should be equality of opportunity. And then it should be also considering upcoming generations in mind, future generations in mind. That's why development has 3 dimensions. First, right-based welfare should be there. Second, merit-based empowerment should be there. And third, there should be sustainability. This is the equation of inclusive growth. So if I could say mathematically, inclusive growth is equal to growth plus right-based welfare plus merit-based empowerment plus sustainability. This all makes what is called development. And that's why when you gauge any country, just don't look at how much they are growing. Also look at what kind of welfare activities are taking place, and also look at what kind of empowerment activities are taking place. So if I could say simply that if I want to gauge any country, how good or prosperous that country is, I should not be looking into only their GDP data, their IIP data, how much they are doing in terms of industries and all. I also should be looking at how much of welfare they are ensuring. I also must be looking at how much of empowerment avenues they are creating. I'm saying 2 things. One is that welfare should be there and empowerment avenue should be there. If country is providing only welfare, trust me, it's not going to sustain for long. Because if people are not getting empowered, how long you can do welfare? So welfare should be accommodated with empowerment, and all that should be sustainable. Because sustainability is definitely now one of the very important ingredient. That's why whenever we want to examine a country, we look into whether the country is reducing inequalities or not, whether the country is thinking enough for basic facilities like food security, the country is thinking enough for what is called sanitation, safe drinking water, and such like things, along with focus on empowerment through, when it comes to empowerment, there are 2 vehicles of empowerment mostly, the health and the education. So how they are doing in terms of health, how they are doing in terms of education, what are the outcome, these kind of assessments are done. This chapter 11 actually talks about it. That chapter 11 is dedicated to identify that where India stands in inclusive growth. And as you know, NDA government since 2014 is having a mantra called growth-led development. You should know this term also. Growth-led development means what? We want that development where growth is also not looked down upon. We should be prioritizing growth also, and growth should be creating avenues. That's why even IMF says this. Anyone, if you want to know more about all these things, I can give you one reference. There's one series by IMF called Back to Basics. It's a wonderful series called Back to Basics. You can go and Google Back to Basics, IMF inclusive growth. You'll get a data. And all these what I'm saying is mentioned there. So when it comes to this idea, any country's development should be viewed also in terms of that how much of growth is there, because growth may trickle into more empowerment and welfare activities. So in this chapter, this year also, they tried to provide a detail that how India is overall in terms of social sector, A, how India is doing in terms of education, how India is doing in terms of health, how India is doing in terms of rural prosperity, because India resides in villages. Still, if you see that almost 68% of the population is rural. So if you really want India to grow, rural prosperity is important. So what kind of facilities, infrastructure we are having in the rural areas, empowerment of the rural areas, these kind of evaluation has been provided in this chapter. So this chapter 11 is actually talking about it. So first thing first, as you know, the standard way is, first we'll be talking about that how much of expenditure we are doing. Second part, we talk about that what we have done in terms of education. Third part, what we have done in terms of health. Fourth part, what we have done in terms of, say, rural prosperity and all. If you see, as per expenditure is concerned, government expenditure on social sector is continuously increasing. And the current CAGR is growth rate of a longer period. Like 1 year growth rate is growth rate. If you have to see over the 5 years, from 2017-18 to 2022-23, तो किसी साल थोड़ी ज़्यादा growth हुई होगी, किसी साल कम रही होगी. इसका जो compounded data निकालते हो, that is called CAGR. So CAGR in terms of social sector has continuously increased by 15%, and if you see in health, increases 18%. Obviously, you can understand because due to COVID, a lot of infrastructure has been developed. So CAGR in health is 18%, CAGR in education is 12%, CAGR overall is 15%. Now, this data you can use in your mains examination when you're talking about health, when you're talking about education, here and there. So they had tried to tell us that how overall expenditure has increased, and this increase definitely. And when I'm saying social sector, it consists of everything into that. Let's say when we talk about nutrition, when we talk about prosperity, sports, culture, all these kind of activities which are related to the inclusive growth and welfare. So the data has shown that thing, where we are in terms of CAGR. If I could take you directly there. In fact, here we try to keep this document very crispy, to the point, keeping this in mind that producing another bulkier document is not going to be helpful. So if you see that, and if anyone is reading original document, obviously this thing is further been detailed quantity-wise also. So here we are saying that how overall we are focusing. So you can say that overall social service expenditure, and when I'm saying social service expenditure, Economic Survey has given a list of it in the second page of this chapter itself, that social service includes all these kind of things. It consists health, it consists education, sports, art and culture, sanitation, safe drinking water, nutrition, housing, all these kind of facilities. Now, overall central government expenditure as CAGR of social sector 15%, education is 12%, and health 18%. We are talking about financial year 2017-18 से हम इसको refer कर रहे हैं. So this is how you can say that how this has continuously increased from financial year 17, rather it's 2016-17 onwards. So 2016-17, 2017-18, 18-19, 19-20. अच्छा, जब दोनों ना लिखा हो तो लास्ट का ईयर लिखते हैं. So like 2000, अभी हम कौन से फाइनेंशियल ईयर में है? It will be called financial year 25. Next it will be financial year 26. Either you write 24-25 or the last year is written 25. So financial year 17 means 16-17, 17-18, 18-19. If you see continuously we are growing. And this is the CAGR. The best part is what we have identified. You know what? How you can identify that someone is prosperous? By looking at the consumption pattern. So there is one data which is given by MOSPI. MOSPI provides this data at a gap of 5 years, but this time the data was given at the gap of 10 years, because last data we have not considered. So within the MOSPI, we got this data that is called monthly per capita expenditure data. Monthly per capita expenditure data is showing that the gap has reduced. The gap has reduced between the urban and rural areas. What it signifies to you? Prosperity into the rural areas. This signifies that rural areas are getting more prosperous. And if you want to know the exact data, it is hovering around now 4,700 rupees. 4,700 rupees in rural areas, and roughly hovering around 6,700 rupees in urban areas. We have not given this data here, knowing this because too much of data is not that friendly with many of the students out there. But original economic survey has talked about it, if anyone is interested by chance. So this gap reduction is proving that rural prosperity has increased. And even in the rural areas now we have witnessed that people are spending more money in non-giffen goods. You understand non-giffen goods? Giffen goods are your important things. So non-giffen goods, we are also spending money on luxurious items, clearly indicating that rural prosperity is on the surge. This data has been used as a point of reference. Now, I was just telling you that a country should be examined on reducing inequalities. Within a country, how much of inequality prevails, that is calculated by 3-4 major indicators. One indicator is Gini coefficient. I'm sure you have read about it. And those who are not knowing Gini coefficient, there was a fellow Lorentz who gave a curve. This is popularly called as Lorentz curve. According to Lorentz curve, if resources were equally distributed between the population, means 10% population is getting 10% of the resource, 20% of population getting 20% of the resource, there would have been a straight line. But if the straight line is getting curvy, it means there are inequalities prevailing. inequality is prevailing. Deeper the curve means deeper the inequality. Deeper the inequality. And this curve, Lorentz curve, was mathematically represented by Corredo-Gini. And that's what is popularly called as Gini coefficient. Gini coefficient is a scale on 0 to 1. 0 to 1. If you are moving towards 1, that means inequalities are higher. If you are moving towards 0, that means it is equal redistribution. It's equal redistribution. So if Gini coefficient is reducing, that's a good sign. Similarly, we have one thing called Palma ratio that is given by Gabriel Palma, is a Latin American economist, that says the resources of top 10% of the population versus bottom 40% of the population. This is called Palma ratio. So by looking at the Gini ratio coefficient, by looking at Palma ratio and these kind of data, we can understand that in any given economy, whether the inequalities are higher or lesser. Here, they had given one data to us. The data is saying that how the Gini coefficient has improved. It has declined to 0.237. Gini coefficient can be calculated on 0 to 1 and sometime in percentage also. It is calculated in percentage also. In rural area, it has declined to 0.237 in 2023-24 in comparison to 0.266 in 22-23. In the previous financial year, it was 0.266, and this financial year, it is 0.237. Going on the downside means inequalities are reducing. So inequalities are reducing. Overall, there is a decline to 0.284 from 0.314 in 22-23. So Gini coefficient overall kitna tha India mein? 0.314, which has reduced to 0.284. Now some of you might be wondering, HDI data says something different. As per IHDI data, you might be knowing HDI, Human Development Index. On the similar line, UNDP provides a data called IHDI data, Inequality Adjusted HDI. As per IHDI data, India's Gini coefficient is 34.2. So thoda difference hai data mein. Matlab they are saying it is 0.342, we are saying it is 0.314. Ye thoda mismatch, maybe because on survey and whatever, but we are hovering on the same part. कोई ऐसा बहुत अंतर की बात नहीं हो रही है. Good part is that India's Gini coefficient is reducing. That means inequalities are reducing, and inequalities could reduce only when, look at me, if someone is here, and you are giving 5 rupees to both, they will reach here. If inequality is reducing, that simply means somehow they have climbed up faster than them. So that itself is showing that how welfare activities are yielding results. So Gini coefficient and Palma ratio, these two are, in fact there are other ratios also. UNDP follows 5 major ratios to calculate inequality. That is, if you want to know again, it is available on UNDP website. 5 measures to calculate inequality. One is Gini coefficient, another is Palma ratio, another is Atkinson's ratio, very popular as Atkinson's index. Then we have what is called quintile ratio that looks at 20% top versus 20% bottom. This is how, and then one is called Robin Hood index. So these are the indices which are being used for calculating inequality. Now India Gini coefficient is definitely now below what is called 0.3, or you can say 30%, whatever you want to say, you can say in percentage also, you can say in points also. So it is below 0.3, it has come to now 0.284. Ye data aap use kar sakte ho. You can signify this data whenever you are talking about poverty and all, inequality, anywhere you're talking about inequality, welfare activities, you can use this data. So this is how the first part of this chapter tries to identify that India's expenditure in social sector has increased, and interestingly, those expenditures are now yielding results. This is the point. It is yielding result, inequalities has reduced, Gini coefficient has reduced, and it is also showing that how monthly per capita expenditure of the average rural household in comparison to average urban household has reduced. अभी जो मैंने आपको डेटा दिया, that is 4,700 rupees average for rural and 6,700. That is along with the welfare activities, given by the government. So this way you can say that inequalities are reducing. These data, economic survey has use to substantiate this argument that India is towards inclusive growth. So we are saying, yes, we are on inclusive growth. And then economic survey has highlighted in terms of education, that where we are in terms of education, what needs to be done, where we should be focusing on education, what are the challenges, and so and so. Now, if you see that when it comes to education, before I get into what economic survey is saying, let's understand something about education, where India is and what needs to be done. India is having almost 26% of its population. Mind the data. 26% of the population is quite younger side, 10 to 24 years. That means India is going to reap demographic dividend. We are going to reap demographic dividend. We are young population. एक term और भी होता है. There are 3 terms associated: demographic dividend, demographic window, and demographic winter. These are 3 terms you should be knowing. Demographic dividend is when you have young population. Demographic window is when your young population is relatively younger than other countries having demographic dividend. Like, say for example, if I ask you, there is a country A in demographic dividend, this country B in demographic dividend. Both the countries are having working population more. That is demographic dividend. Country A is having 10 to 35 years population more, and 35 to 60 year population lesser. Country B is having 15 to 35 year population lesser, and 35 to 60 year population more. As an investor, where you would like to go, A or B? A, because skills and training given to A will sustain for long. This situation is called demographic window, that you are in positive demographic window, and demographic winter is a negative term when population is going sluggish. So when it comes to India, India is in both demographic dividend and demographic window. We are having young population, and considering this, it's very important that education should be promoted. Education reforms has been quite a discussion, and we got a what is called National Education Policy 2020. Very important development, NEP 2020, on the recommendations of Kasturi Rangan Committee. A lot of initiative has been done in the primary education, in what is called, you can say, higher education, in skill development, in training programs, and all these kind of things. And understand this point. When it comes to education, education is something which is multifaceted. This is one thing which has been, we have not mentioned here, but because obviously that would make it further unnecessarily bulkier, but if I could tell you, there was a very good example given by the economic survey itself, that if you want to promote education, it is not just arrange schools. It is interlinked, that you have to make sure that the kids are having proper nutritious food, you have to make sure that infrastructure is there, you have to make sure transport facilities are better. अब आप सोचो, सर्व शिक्षा अभियान says within 2 kilometers there should be school. I was reading one report that in Rajasthan, average distance of a school is 8 kilometers. In Uttarakhand, average distance is 7 kilometers. 7 kilometers, 8 kilometers in hilly terrain, desert terrain, going to school, do you think? Even Jindra did a survey. Jindra is a renowned scholar. Jean Dries, some people call him. Jindra conducted a survey that many of the girls get drop out. They don't go to the school because school is not having sanitation facility. Now, apparently, this is something which doesn't look correlated. It is. And that's why school should have, that's why in the economic survey data has been provided that how we are having sanitation facilities in the school, infrastructure is there, transport facilities are there or not. So when you think of school, it's not only about just what is called making a classroom and all. It should create that ecosystem, positive ecosystem, where students are coming and participating. So a very good example has been given in the survey, telling why when it comes to education we need to work. There are several schemes, plethora of schemes are there. If you see, we got PM Shri. In fact, yesterday only I was talking about that in social issues discussions, that we got one thing called Navachetna. Navachetna is for 0 to 3 years. 0 to 3 years, parents are given now guidelines, some kind of guidelines, that what they should keep in mind for early parenting of the kids. 0 to 1 is called infancy, 1 to 2 is called toddlers, 2 to 3 is called preparation for preschool. And then 3 to 6 is called Adharshila. Adharshila is 3 to 6 year, where they are going to Anganbadi centers, where they are going to what is called certain places for now kids should know to go out of the home and should be going to preschools and kindergartens and these kind of things. So that kind of approach, in fact, यहाँ पे economic survey में maybe mains में while discussing mains we'll talk about it in social issues additionally. Some case studies has been given also. Your answers are better in mains once case study is given. So there are case studies given from Karnataka, that how in Karnataka we got very interactive play schools, how we got interactive play schools in Andhra. You know, Kerala has been always top on the list. So these kind of things are there to make sure that kids are having what is called proper Aadhaar or foundation in 3 to 6 year. So 0 to 3 year is what is called Navachetna. 3 to 6 year is what is called Adharshila or foundation, and then the kid is going to school. As you know, the national education policy talks now first 5 year for building foundation, next 3 year for preparation, next 3 year for now take off, and last 4 year, that is 9, 10th, 11th, 12th for finishing the schooling. So a lot of changes has been brought in new education policy. All that has been acknowledged here, and early childhood care and education is something which has been prioritized. So in education, it's very important that we should be talking about all these things. Even in higher education, it's very important that now we should try to provide not only infrastructure, even we are talking about now multi-dimensional, multidisciplinary approach, we are talking about multi-linguistic approach. In budget, already notification has been given that we are going to have a digital library considering various languages. Now higher education books will be available in various languages. And I must say, ministry को थोड़ा expedite करना चाहिए. They should also provide digital, audio-visual kind of, because youngsters are more interested in those things. RBI is doing it for economics. That's, I think, is a good thing. RBI is going to make some audio-visual kind of links now, which is going to be available for general reading in the subjects or the financial affairs. ऐसे अलग-अलग departments को भी आगे आना चाहिए शायद. That DST should talk about basic science and all that, so that it is an audio-visual format as well. So we are trying to make sure that education is something. इस बार इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने एक चीज हाईलाइट की विच आई थिंक कुड बी इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम मेंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड social economic learning. Of late, social economic learning has been one of the very important debates in the education sector. What is social economic learning, social emotional learning, social emotional learning, because it's not only about having what is called IQ. IQ से ज़्यादा important है now what you call, you know, that how much of emotional intelligence you are having. Because, you know, the way things are changing, it's very important that social emotional learning should be promoted. Kids should know how to interact with others, you know, how to deal with their emotional, because look, as we are living in an uncertain world, emotions need to be better organized, managed, and we should not be leaving these things to chance. So now, from UNESCO to many organizations are talking about what is called this idea of social and emotional learning. Social emotional learning, SEL is the short form for it. And I think this is something which could be important from mains point of view. Why? Because ऐसी चीजें UPSC को attract करते हैं. This is the future. Because future curriculum must have all these things. हालांकि Delhi government has come up with one thing called happiness curriculum. It is in the same line called social emotional learning. Many states has come up. Even Tamil Nadu in 2009 started one thing called Timtimate Tare, TTT we call it. Uska reference economic survey ne diya hua hai, Timtimate Tare, that was in Tamil Nadu 2009. Again, it is for soft skills learning. How to interact with the people, how to talk, how to manage your emotions. Obviously, you should be careful about managing your emotions. So these kind of outbursts are not good. So considering all these things, in education, even this part has been also acknowledged, that we should be working on additional skills on the initial phase itself. In higher education, obviously, diversifying and skill development and acknowledgements of all those kind of works which might be learned through informal sector, that also has been discussed and acknowledged. So यहाँ पे कुछ बातें यहाँ पे दी हुई हैं, that how we got new education policy. NISTA is very important training program for teachers. NISTA was introduced in 2009 because look, again, if I could say this way, I was saying yesterday that in that debate, कि in education sector in India, the biggest challenge is who are the teachers? Who are the teachers? And are they trained enough to teach or not? Because it's not only about knowledge. If I qualify NET, it's knowledge test, not the test of my teaching skills. It's not the test of teaching skills, right? And there should be formal training programs for teachers also. This necessity was felt in 1986 when we got National Policy on Education. National Policy on Education, but it was said that there should be formal training to teachers. They should be knowing what to do, what not to do. Classrooms, obviously, whether you like or dislike, the fact remains, you are affected by your teachers. And that's why way back it was said by Chanakya, give me, if you want to change the world, give me control on teachers. Stalin had said, give me 30 years and complete control on education system and I will make the world the way you want. Because how much you know, what has been taught, what has been told, body languages, gestures, each and everything matters. Each and everything matters, and classroom should be a place. Classroom should be a place of learning, not only of the content, even it's a composite learning process. So considering all these things, there should be training program even for teachers. And in 2019, it was realized that we need massive refreshment training program for teachers at district level. So it was supposed to be offline earlier, that was called NISTA, training program for teachers, but due to COVID, it was made online. So online NISTA training programs are there, where teachers are being trained and certified that what are do's and don'ts in the classroom, how they can make their classes interactive, what kind of pedagogy they should use, from presentation to engaging students and these kind of things. So it's very important, because if the classroom is not provoking you to think, I think Mitch Albom, a very renowned writer and a teacher himself at Harvard, had once said, the teacher's job is to make a student interested, that's it. Rest they will take care of. You should somehow make them interested into the subject. So, and I'm sorry to say, classrooms are not, Mitch Albom is very right, classrooms are not the place for vulgar display of knowledge of teachers. Sometimes they go into that, into impression management, the vulgar display of knowledge. Obviously, you know more, that's why you're standing there. You should be knowing it, how to engage them into the discussions, into the things, and so. So, when it comes to NISTA, NISTA is teachers training program, and obviously, more of such nature is coming forward, that, what should be done for teachers, and teacher, when I'm saying, I'm talking about primary and higher education both. Even at primary level and at higher education. Even in AI also, now the question is that AI, if AI is telling you only X plus Y is equal to Z, it's not going to be helpful. AI should tell you how X and Y makes Z, the process of it. Then only it will be significant. So this is how, even in AI in education, we are looking forward for what is called AI augmentation in education also. And this budget has talked about a center of excellence for education. I hope you take a note, ये PT के लिए बहुत important है. We got center of excellence for education with 500 crore rupees earmarked, isn't it? AI center. We already had given AI in 3 other fields. Can anybody name it? Which are those fields? पहले ही AI के लिए center of excellence बन चुका है 3 fields में. They are agriculture, health, and sustainable cities. So इस पे PT में ज़रूर पूछेंगे, ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि उसको सब वो कैसे करेंगे, उनको डिज़ाइन करने दीजिए. So we got center of excellence now in 4 sectors: agriculture, health, sustainable cities, and now education. And we got now overall budgetary allocation more than 2,000 crores now. So this way, if you see that We are talking about that there should be a national education policy, digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing. PM Shri is there. PM Poshan is the new name for midday meal. Midday meal was introduced way back in 1995. And now when we say PM Poshan, midday meal is now available even before the schooling, into 3 to 6 years age also. So those who are going to preschool or Anganbadi in Adharshila, they will be also beneficiary of midday meal now. So this is how, that is the new name for it, PM Poshan. So overall, this is showing that how GER has improved. At primary level, gross enrollment ratio is very good. What is gross enrollment ratio? Let's say in any place, there are 10 people, 10 kids of 6 to 14 age group. 6 to 14 age group means up to class 8th, let's say. So if 10 of them, 10 people are there in 6 to 14 age group, that is class 8th, and in class 8th, up to class 8th, there are 10 students, then we'll say GR is 100%. That's how it is calculated. So how many of them should be in the school in this age group, and what is the actual population? That is what is called GER. So GER is the representation of that. I hope making sense to you. What is GER? अच्छा, ऐसा हो सकता है कि GR 100 के ऊपर भी चला जाए? कैसे? Very good. They could be underage, we could be overage, repeating, fail भी तो होते हैं लोग. No, so that could be the case. So that is how we got when we talk about GER. Now GER is almost, when it comes to primary level, it is almost universal, going up to universal level, that is 93%. In fact, पीछे तो data थोड़ा 97 तक भी गया था, but due to COVID we got a setback. So GER has improved. In higher education, it is now, if you see that, 28.4% from 23.7%. So you can say there's a sizable improvement in 2021-22. We know that digital technology is coming at our intervention, is coming to help us in bridging the gap. I must say, if you really want quality education, India should be banking upon digital technologies only. Because reaching to that far-flung area, only digital technologies could be helpful. Could be helpful. And the, if you see that, I must say that although in India still education or edtech startups are in very initial phase, they need to, I sometimes wonder, I often give this example in classrooms that look, if an organization like Vision can do this hybrid model, that you can see it online also, offline also, why not universities are thinking this way? The universities' classroom should be in hybrid model now. That, they have some of them started, but again, the catchment area has to be bigger. So, अगर आप सोच के देखो, medical colleges की इतनी मारा मारी है, if medical college start in the hybrid model, and then we can have a district level practical centers also. The practical and all these experimental centers could be there. We have to think out of the box to provide education to this much young population, this much lot. So hybrid models, and when I'm saying it's practically possible to develop these kind of systems. What all needed is to come forward, and that's what I'm very happy to share, that even in Infrastructure Economic Survey had said that you cannot grow both. When we say infrastructure, it has three things. Infrastructure means physical infrastructure, like road, railway, these kind of things. Social infrastructure, like sanitation, schools, hospitals, and digital infrastructure. Economic Survey has highlighted in infrastructure chapter that all the three infrastructure is not possible without public-private interventions. Soch ke dekhiye, I know what I'm saying might look hypothetical, but it's quite possible. Imagine karke dekhiye ki Delhi University is opening this option. Let's say any organization, even Vision could do that, ki, Delhi University and they are coming in an agreement, they are providing them a place. Because the biggest infrastructural cost, probably the places. Delhi University is already having plenty of space available. They are providing them space. In return, they are providing this kind of assessment system that you're writing every day a question and that has been evaluated, hybrid classrooms, tailor-made curriculum. Then only, and this is what survey is talking about now, where good part is, they are believing that private sector and government sector should come together, even in social infrastructure. in social infrastructure. Time has come. आपको नहीं लगता time has come कि even the way your pizzas are coming, we should be talking the same thing in health sector also. That just on a call, doctor may reach to your doorstep. No, these we have Practo has got the database now. Practo is correcting the database, but that's more and more participation is needed. More and more participation of that capacity is needed. So you should be knowing in your locality where is a doctor. Where is the doctor, what is the qualification, and you can take a consultancy. Let's say I'm coming here and God forbid, if I'm having some ailment, मुझे मालूम है मेट्रो के आसपास कहाँ डॉक्टर मिलेगा कि मैं स्पेशली जाऊँ वहाँ लाइन लगाऊँ. We need to change these outlooks. So this is something which has been highlighted. Here in this document, we tried to keep it very precise, but I told you, and maybe Sir have already told you earlier also, that as you know, I think 3 teachers have taken class so far. No, 2. All right. So I'm sure they might have discussed ki, it's worth reading economic survey, but read it like a document. It's like a novel. Don't try to mug it up. Just like what is been said. So when you have done your GDP chapter in your routine classes, do at least have a quick look on whatever the chapter is saying in economic survey. You'll get insight. You'll get insight that this is what should be added, this what should be considered. So economic survey is highlighting that time has come for private sector to participate, because if India want to be Viksit Bharat by 2047, we need continuous growth rate of 8%. 8% continuous growth rate is needed, and 8% continuous growth rate will come only when we are having this partnership coming forward. So this way we got what is called GER in higher education is something which is there, and overall digital technologies are bridging the gap. One concern which has been highlighted, and that is something which continuously they are talking about, is in terms of mental health. So healthcare, this was about education. When it comes to health, in health they have identified that overall health scenario is improving. If you see life expectancy is increasing, IMR reducing, MMR reducing are the indicators. Here in the original document, we got a comparison chart of IMR, and what is called life expectancy. If IMR is reducing, in fact कहा भी जाता है अगर आप बहुत जल्दी में हो और किसी कंट्री का आपको डेटा देखना है कि हाउ गुड दे आर इन सोशल सेक्टर, हेल्थ सेक्टर, तो कुछ नहीं करिए, सिर्फ IMR का डेटा देख लीजिए. इफ IMR डेटा इज ऑन डिक्लाइनिंग ट्रेंड, एवरीथिंग इज गुड. वो एक आपके पल्स की तरह काम करता है. सो IMR इज रिड्यूसिंग एंड लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी इंक्रीजिंग. That itself is proving that India's healthcare facilities are on now improving side. And when it comes to healthcare, in healthcare there are 3-4 major challenges. First there has to be infrastructure. In India there's a problem. I hope you're knowing, is health fundamental right? Is it health fundamental right? Has it been mentioned as fundamental right? Supreme Court said what? Dignified right is a fundamental right. What about health? In Ramesh Narayan versus Bihar's government case, it was said by Honorable Supreme Court that it is implicit in Article 21. Not explicit, but implicit in Article 21. And I am keeping my fingers crossed. I'm waiting for 21B. Whenever it will be right to health. After right to education. Is going to be right to health only, though in national health policy, government has come very close to that. Affordable, quality health care for all. This is what is the caption of National Health Policy 2017. So we are very close, this much close to what is called ensuring right to health. But shayad right to health isliye bach rahe hain kyunki there are some technicalities that we should be also taking into consideration before giving it what is called Article 21B. But whenever it is going to come, sooner or later, what is called healthcare facilities. So yes, when it comes to health, which is a state subject, health is a state subject, and when it comes to health, it's very important that health infrastructure should be better. And not only health infrastructure should be better, it is also important that people should not be paying from their pockets. In health, one of the biggest challenges is called out-of-pocket expenditure. That means I have to pay from my pocket for various disease and cure of those disease. That's why it's very important. And Alma Ata declaration, There's one famous declaration of 1978, Alma Ata Declaration, which says that importance of public health in terms of infrastructure, in terms of affordability, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of affordability, and even in terms of what you can say, awareness also. So in health, it is also important that we should be having enough of awareness, and that people should be avoiding diseases and these kind of things. So that all comes into the scene. So when it comes to health facilities in healthcare system, obviously infrastructure has improved, is growing, and India is also working on reducing its health cost. So if you see that in terms of health, government health expenditure has increased from 29% to 48%. There is one data called total health expenditure, THE. Total health expenditure, in that how much government spending, how much people are spending there from their pocket, how much money is coming from medical insurance, all these details are provided. So government expenditure on health is increasing, and as you know, and again, let me tell you this way, ki PT mein this could be significant. I hope you're knowing in budget, for gig workers, we have said now gig workers also under PM Jan Arogya. So Ayushman scheme, which is called PM Jan Arogya, where 5 lakh medical insurance is provided, now gig workers are going to get benefits of it. So even that data has been provided here, that how government expenditure has increased. And if you see Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya, which was introduced in 2019, giving 5 lakh rupees medical insurance, along with what is called Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. This is very important, because in health, what is important is centralized database. So database is very important. In Ayushman Digital Health Mission, what we are doing is, we are creating, everyone is going to have an Aadhaar card now. That is health card, and this health card will be having entire detail kind of medicines you got, kind of ailment you have, kind of, let's say allergies you have, various vaccinations you have been, administered. All these detail will be provided. So this is going to be an important single point ID card for all your health information. And all stakeholders will be kept together. So doctors, insurance companies, ambulances, even if anyone is going for Ayush treatment, all that data is provided at one place. And for this, we have a dedicated portal also, that is called Digital Bharat Mission Portal. And it is having its own sandbox. Those who are from engineering background might be understanding sandbox. Sandbox is what? Experimenting ground. So new softwares, etc., can be added easily. So all that is being done for what? To make sure that we are having better data. That is how we got Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. Even iDrone is something which we are focusing in Northeast, very good idea. I have been knowing that recently in Nagaland and Meghalaya, we have delivered medicine with the help of drone. Because as the terrain is difficult, maybe it will take time. So we are using now drone to deliver medicine. So deliver medicine, drones has been used, and it's a successful program, especially in Northeast when we have difficult terrain. So that's how we got, this was done by ICMR. In fact, not a surprise, I was wondering, I was looking into one ad by Maruti Jimmy. Maruti Jimmy ne bhi usi ko use kiya ki in difficult terrains, we could reach with the medicines and all. So we are experimenting in Himachal Pradesh also, we are repeating this experiment now. So Himachal Pradesh में भी iDrone को use कर रहे हैं in difficult terrains में medicine पहुंचाने के लिए, so that there is no delay in the delivery of medicine. So drone का use कर रहे हैं. So considering all this, next वही है मेरे ख्याल से कि drone deliveries are going to be more in fashion. So when it comes to iDrone is a very good, very successful, you can say, pilot project, especially in the terrain of Northeast. उसका भी जिक्र इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने किया है कि these kind of things are definitely going to be helpful, where technology is intervening us to provide better health facilities. In fact, Ayushman Mandirs are also having this kind of facility now. So we have various health and wellness centers where we have what is called digital facility available, and you can take opinion of the doctors of cities. So a doctor will come online, patient will be there, and this is how the online consultancy is provided. E-Sanjeevani is also there, With the help of e-Sanjeevani, you can get telecaller also, and you can talk to the doctor, you can talk about your things. Online consultation is the new thing coming up. And there's nothing wrong into this. It's a very good thing, because it will reduce your travel cost. It will reduce your because otherwise you have to reschedule entire thing for health checkups and all these kind of things. So we are doing these things now when technology is intervening in better health facilities. Uska zikr hai yahan par. So this is how we have talked about. But one very significant concern is mental health. Mental health is on the surge. दो चीज़ें यहाँ पे चौंकाने वाली हैं. एक तो इंडिया इज ऑल्सो विटनेसिंग इंक्रीजिंग नंबर ऑफ नॉन कम्युनिकेबल डिजीजेस, लाइफस्टाइल डिजीज as you call them. Heart attack, diabetes, and these kind of things are increasing. These are called lifestyle disease. So lifestyle diseases are increasing because maybe lack of awareness. Mental health is a very serious concern. And India is having already a policy for it in 2013. National Health Mission 2013, which has been incorporated into National Health Policy. But mental health is something which is a growing concern, and I'm very happy to share here that Economic Survey has given a fitting reply to those people who are giving unnecessary 90 hours, 70 hours. Economic Survey has duly acknowledged 60 hours good enough. That says 60 hours is optimal, and I was happily delighted to read this. Acha, chalo. Somebody is giving the reply quite right in time, because suddenly a war has started. 90 hours, somebody is saying these many hours, and so 60 hours is something which is the optimal Economic Survey is highlighting. If you are giving too much of time on your desk, it will have its own mental cost. Even a lot of binging is going on. Average screen time has increased. All these kind of things are showing that mental health are going to be on surge. So we need to be well in time, identifying the reasons for it and what could be potential solutions to overcome to this problem. सो मेंटल हेल्थ को लेकर और नॉन कम्युनिकेबल डिजीजेस में अगर आप देखो तो कहाँ 1990s में नॉन कम्युनिकेबल डिजीज लाइक हार्ट रेट, डायबिटीज एटसेट्रा वाज वेरी लेस, 37.9. इट हैज इंक्रीज टू 61.8. So it is continuously increasing. So if you see in last 2-3 decades, and still on the surge. So considering all these things, it's very important that we need to change our strategy in that regard. कि so कैसे change करेंगे and how it should be. So this is how mental health is a concern. पिछले इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने भी मेंटल हेल्थ की बात की थी, एंड दे हैव यूज्ड द टर्म डूम स्क्रॉलिंग फॉर इट, कि जनरेशंस आर डूइंग डूम स्क्रॉलिंग. हमें स्क्रीन टाइम को और थोड़ा सा फिजिकल एक्टिविटी को, ऑल दीज थिंग्स शुड बी एडवोकेटेड नाउ. So this is how they have talked about the healthcare part. Roads, because I told you that when it comes to digital infrastructure along with what is called physical infrastructure is what is the solution. So villages prosperity also should be viewed in terms of how much of physical infrastructure has been made. So here are some examples given that how Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, as you know, PMGSY, is a very important development for rural roads. To connect it to the state highways and national highways. That is something which has got what is called almost 99% of targeting fulfilled. So PMGSY has been very successful a program, along with what you can say Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyay Mahas Abhiyan, that is called PM Janman. PM Janman is another very important development which has been introduced primarily for 75 particularly vulnerable tribal groups, PVTGs as we call them. So for those 75 PVTGs, we have introduced this called PM Janman. And this PM Janman has been quite successful program. That's why we introduced another thing in 2024 called PM Juga. And now, just for information, that all tribal welfare schemes has been brought together under one platform that is called PM Juga. And in this scheme, what we are doing is that various ministries will come together under Gati Shakti to make sure that we are having better infrastructure and better monitoring. So happening Gati Shakti, when we are having better monitoring of various infrastructural activities. So this is how we got what is called PM Janman is there, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. Now this data you should be knowing that 2.69 crore houses has been completed since 2016, and we are further expediting. Is in this budget also, budgetary allocation has been introduced for it. We got a separate budgetary allocation for stressed housing projects. I hope you have taken note of it. If not, in budget you should take note of it. We got a separate budgetary allocation, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Grameen, which is a new name for the older scheme called Indira Awas Yojana. In this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Grameen, since 2016 when the scheme was introduced, we had made how many? 2.69 crore houses. But बहुत सारे houses ऐसे हैं जो 70-80% बन चुके हैं and not finished because of lack of budget. उनके लिए in the budget this time we have got a separate budgetary allocation so that they are completed at a faster pace. So maybe next year the data might suddenly jump. Maybe it might reach to something more than 3 crore. So this is our priority now, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Grameen. Then water bodies, there is one thing called Amrit Sarovar. Amrit Sarovar is something, once we got in 2019 Jal Shakti Ministry. Now what we are doing is, we are identifying our water bodies. Water bodies are those bodies which could be used for various water resource purposes. And they are divided into 3 scales. In your geography classes, you might be knowing that they are into 3 categories: big water bodies, and then middle range, and then small water bodies. And these water bodies, census has been conducted now by Jal Shakti. When West Bengal is having the maximum number of water bodies are, it could be from pond to anything. Swimming pool nahi. Not swimming pool, but pond to anything which could be used for various water resource purposes. So in this, we have identified those places, those water bodies which has the potential and could be revitalized. So बहुत सारी, if you see that various water bodies has been revitalized, we are providing them better, you can say, fencing and all these kind of things. So ensuring that these water bodies are being revitalized, इसको हम क्या बोल रहे? We are calling it Mission Amrit Sarovar. So this is a very good thing that more water bodies are being revitalized. Obviously, it will help us in irrigation facilities. I hope you're knowing that now India is moving towards micro irrigation. और इसीलिए लखपति दीदीज, in Lakpati Didis, we are training them for what? We are training them for micro irrigation. Drone will be used for micro irrigation because अभी हम जो irrigation कर रहे हैं, that is not very water efficient. हमें water footprint पे ध्यान देना होगा, because water is something which is definitely a limiting resource now. So अभी आप क्या करते हो? ट्यूबवेल से पानी चलाते हो, तो पूरे खेत में जहाँ जरूरत नहीं है वहाँ भी. Now we are going to have Internet of Things. Or exactly, say for example, if this is a farmland, moisture is lesser here and more there, I will be knowing here only irrigation is needed. And drone will be used for this purpose. It's in fact, the same we are going to do for fertilizer, for pesticides and these kind of things. So to ensure all these things, we need better water bodies and we need to revitalize our water bodies. That is what is called Mission Amrit Sarovar. इसकी बात बहुत पहले से एक आदमी करते आए हैं. His name is Waterman of India. Anyone? Rajan Singh. Very good. So Rajendra Singh is called Waterman of India, and he must be a happy man now that finally it has happened. And we are ensuring that water bodies are being revitalized. Safe drinking water in Jal Jeevan Mission is another thing which they have highlighted, and the total number is now 12.2. 12 ये डेटा आपको पता होना चाहिए. मेंस वगैरह में बहुत यूजफुल होता है जब आप कुछ ऐसा लिख रहे हो. सो अंडर जल जीवन मिशन, एंड जल जीवन मिशन हैज बीन एक्सटेंडेड टू 2028 नाउ. सो जल जीवन मिशन वी आर इंश्योरिंग water from tap, har ghar nal as we call it. So 12.2 crore household. In fact, I'm very happy to share, now we got tap even in Ladakh also. At -10 degree वो टैप से पानी ले रहे हैं. So this is something which is definitely appreciable. कुछ चीज़ें हैं जैसे I am very happy to share even that experiment in Baramulla. In Baramulla we have now a separate ward for females. I drone तो अच्छी बात है, पर Baramulla में I am sure ये बाकी जगहों पे भी जल्दी हो कि we are having a separate ward for pregnant women, क्योंकि in those difficult terrain, in the last moment lady cannot go to the hospital. So in the 9th month onwards the lady stays there till the delivery. And proper nutrition care is being provided also. So this is called waiting mother's ward. And that is something which obviously is a successful story going that far. So all these kind of things are ensuring कि हाँ, we are providing better rural infrastructure and facilities. एक ये चीज़ इन्होंने एक अलग से इस बार की इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में हाईलाइट किया है, एंड इवन चीफ इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर इन हिज पर्सनल एड्रेसल हैज आल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट इट, दैट मेक्स इट सिग्निफिकेंट. मेंस में इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकता है, तब तक हमें एसडीजी इंडिया की एक रिपोर्ट और हो जाए, वी विल गेट अनदर रिपोर्ट ऑफ एसडीजी इंडिया. That is called localizing SDGs. Kerala has introduced already, Kerala has started what is called Local Administration Institute for Local Administration, which is localizing SDGs. So SDGs को localize करना बहुत जरूरी. You know SDGs, Sustainable Developmental Goals, all 17. उनको हमें local level पे we need to tailor make them. हमें SDGs को अपने local level पे अपनी requirement के हिसाब से tweak करने की ज़रूरत है. We need to make it as per our requirement. So this is what is called localization of SDGs, and Kerala has given a model. In fact, in the original document, a box has been given for it. Not now, because prelims are approaching and you might be busy there, but in the mains, do mention it wherever you are reading SDG. There only you can add what is called localization of SDG, and how economic survey has given the story of Kerala. Kerala is one of those states which have this idea. They have Institute for Local Administration, and they're ensuring that these SDGs are being localized in terms of communication, in terms of identifying what could be potential resources and how that can be revitalized. So this is what is we are talking about, and here they had said that village panchayat development plan should be there, and already we have what is called aspirational districts program, which has been quite successful. In fact, agar aap budget mein notice karo, to we got Dhan Dhani scheme also. The Dhan Dhani scheme is for what? It is for 100 districts. Which districts? Which are having low productivity. It is inspired by aspirational district program. This this program is inspired by aspirational district program. Aspirational district, which was introduced by Niti Aayog, has gone a successful story now. And now so we got aspirational blocks also. उसी से inspire होके we have said, जहाँ पे we have low productivity in agriculture, but potential is there. We will identify those 100 districts, and we will try to revitalize those districts with higher productivity, higher yield. So this is what is Pradhan Mantri Dhan Dhanya, when you are hoping that more than 1.7 crore farmers will be benefited. So aspirational district program has been quite a successful program, where we are also talking about localization of these SDG targets. Even there is one thing called Deen Dayal Upadhyay Antyodaya National Rural Livelihood Mission, NRLM 2014. So Deen Dayal Upadhyay Antyodaya scheme. In fact, these are the flagship schemes that you should remember. You should remember, and please understand this point with all due respect. In this preparation, often you do this mistake that you go more scholarly and academic unnecessarily. While the content is here, these things are important. So you should be aware of that we have what is called NRLM, which is also trying to provide job opportunities to self-help groups with the help of localizing SDGs. अब सोचिए किसी एक खास एरिया में, if females are capable of contributing in let's say making some medicinal plant which could be useful for, like we already have in Ayush, MS Swaminathan has talked about it, called integrated system of medicine. जैसे अगर आप जानते हो तो in many villages, especially in Karnataka, in part of UP, Bihar, part of Andhra, Telangana, in villages, pregnant women are given a particular soup made of various herbs and spices. That's very helpful. अब सोचिए कि this is something which is going to fulfill one SDG, SDG number 3, that is health. SDG number 3, SDG number 5. Now, if any village, do you know Tulsi Gowda? Tulsi Gowda, she's Padam awardee. She is knowing all these medicinal plants, might be literate. But Tulsi Gowda is having what is called, she's almost gifted when it comes to medicinal plants. So, अब वहाँ की females को अगर train करें, and वो training से they are cultivating those plants which could be packed and can be distributed in various parts of the country. This is what is called localization of SDG in NRLM. सो यहाँ पर हम इस बार बड़ा फोकस इस बात पर है, and I think it's very right, and that too at right time. The time has come that SDG target should be localized, and this will create a win-win situation of employment, using local resources, and identifying that how it could be beneficiary for all. So be it solar panels, be it, various kind of food items, these kind of things. So this is where they have highlighted ये mains में significant हो सकता है, that what is localization of SDG and how it could be useful. And even when you're talking about things, in your solutions, you should be talking about, especially in case studies, when you're giving solution, you should talk about localization of SDGs. That could be helpful in health and all these kind of things. Rural income में I told you that NRLM is something very important. Non-farm livelihood, ये एक बार इस बार उन्होंने थोड़ा focus किया. Look at this board. Non-farm livelihood is something. Farm livelihood is there, rural area, that is fine.
Do you find yourself alone in the revision process for UPSC Prelims? Do not succumb to the pressure. Instead, make revision your strength with the specifically curated Quick Revision Classes 2025. Starting from 5th February at 1 p.m., the classes help you align your strategy with complete revision assistance, offering 40 classes to cover important general studies subjects in a short and crisp format. Quick revision material for each subject for ease in revision. Focus on core subjects such as polity, economy, history, and more. Integrated assessment with one-on-one feedback to address weak areas and build over strengths. Ease in revision with a personalized student portal and access to live and online classes. Gear up and back your preparation for prelim success using strong revision and recall strategy. Prelims is knocking at your doorstep. Are you ready to conquer it heads-on? Do not let the paucity of time determine your success in UPSC Prelims 2025. Fast-pace your preparation with the fast-track course offering coverage of syllabus ranging from polity, economy, geography, environment, international relations, science and technology, art and culture, and Indian history. Starting fresh or looking for revision guidance, Fast-Track course has got you covered. Enroll for coverage of GS Prelims syllabus, personalized mentoring, current affairs preparation, sectional mini tests, access to live and online classes. Admission to the course is now open.
Revolutionize your current affairs preparation with the VisionIS digital current affairs platform. This all-in-one platform ensures smarter, faster and more effective current affairs preparation. With VisionIS Digital Current Affairs Premium, you get visual intelligence. Get AI-powered answers to your current affairs queries, instant and tailored to the syllabus. Daily answer writing. Refine your mains preparation with expert feedback on structured answers. Quick notes and highlights. Simplify note-taking and create personalized revision materials for quick access. Free features include daily news summaries, curated from trusted sources like The Hindu and Indian Express to save you hours. Downloadable PDFs. Keep resources organized for easy revision. Daily quizzes. Test yourself with MCQs that track your progress. Student dashboard. Monitor performance and stay on track with your goals. From reading and testing through revision, VisionIS Digital Current Affairs is your one-stop solution for mastering current affairs. Visit our website today and transform your preparation journey.
But non-farm livelihood को हमें बढ़ाना होगा. Non-farm livelihood को we see that they had said कि we have to focus. जब ये data आपका 8 million से ऊपर चला जाएगा, और ऐसा कब होगा जब आप फूड प्रोसेसिंग को प्रमोट करोगे, विलेज एंटरप्राइज को प्रमोट करोगे, नॉन फॉर्म लाइवलीहुड should be increased, and that will definitely helpful in village prosperity, creating jobs in the villages, reversing the trend of rural migration. That's why the original document has given a data also that more than 8 million non-farm jobs should be created. Then only the solution will come. So this is how they talked about. Manrega obviously is one of those things which has been quite useful, and now we are using DBT, and Manrega is also having its own dedicated portal. So that is what they have highlighted. So this was the chapter which was talking about that why it is important when it comes to social sector and the prosperity, that we should be focusing upon overall expenditure should be increased, and we should be ensuring that it is translating. We should be focusing on education with due emphasis on intervention of technologies and AI. We should be focusing on healthcare. And then we should be focusing on rural prosperity and the jobs creation in the rural areas, especially in non-farm sector. So that, and non-farm sector, वैसे भी, if you are aware of, that in MSME sector, the maximum job creation is now done by food processing. Food processing is doing the maximum job creation. And India is, I'm very happy to share this line with you. Budget has used this term. Finance Minister has said that India has potential to be what is called food bowl of the world. We have that potential कि हम पूरी दुनिया के लिए खाना बना सकते हैं. And that could be a game changer, क्योंकि अगर इंडिया को developed होना है तो we cannot focus on the export, on which import thing is the raw material. आप अंडरस्टैंडिंग, अभी इंडिया सबसे ज़्यादा एक्सपोर्ट किसको करता है? पेट्रोलियम ऑयल, लुब्रिकेंट. And we import crude oil. We import crude oil, we process, we refine it, and then we export it. And that's the reason why, if you know that, because this Bombay High and Reliance sectors are having lesser crude oil now, total crude oil import is going to be 89% now. So बहुत ज़्यादा crude oil import करके export करने में समझदारी नहीं है. Agriculture is our prospect. And that's why जहाँ पे हम import कर रहे हैं agriculture में कहाँ का import है? Pulses में ज़्यादा है and edible oil में ज़्यादा. उसको ठीक करने की ज़रूरत है. That's why आत्मनिर्भर for pulses, and obviously edible oil MSP has been increased. So ये सब करना पड़ेगा. Then only we can be Viksit Bharat. It's not it's something, if we want to be there in 2047, you have to start from now. So this is what this chapter has highlighted about overall. That were the things. So if I say one line summary here, we are trying to say कि क्या आपको ध्यान रखना है. India's social sector reform are focused on education, healthcare, rural development, and quality, accessibility and financial sustainability remains the key challenges. ये आपको एग्जाम में थोड़ा ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि हाँ क्या क्या अभी भी financial sustainability is one of the concerns. कहाँ कहाँ important हो सकता है? It could be in education reforms, health care infrastructure, rural development, and women and child development policies. Now, quickly, if I could say a quick round अगर हम देखें questions का. Now, you tell me, there are a few questions, देखें कि आपको कितना, where you are now, whatever we have discussed. What do you think, what will be the answer of this question? Consider the following statement regarding expenditure in India. The total service expenditure has been increased since financial 17. Is that right? Yes. 2000, no, we have seen that graph. Expenditure on education has grown at a CAGR of 12%. That's right. Expenditure on health has grown at CAGR of 18%. So 12 and 18 is the data which you should be keeping this in mind. So all the three, right? Next question is, which of the following initiatives are related to early childhood care? Adharshila is, yes. Adharshila is, now Chetna is, and even National Framework for Early Childhood Stimulation. So all the three. Look, ये होता ऐसे ही है. जब भी कोई ऐसी peripheral information पूछी जाती है तो we try to keep the question relatively on the simpler side. Now this is easier though. The Gini coefficient is used to measure economic growth, income inequalities, unemployment rate, gender disparities, income inequalities. As you know. एक चीज मैं हाँ जरूर कहूँगा, when as we are doing question, let me do that experiment with you quickly. If I say, क्या लगा दिमाग में? मारने की बात कर रहे हैं और कुछ तो रिप्लाई भी कर देते हो. अच्छा. And when I say 723 multiplied by 312, अब आप step by step चल रहे हो. This is called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Coleman. It's a very, very famous book also. Don't do this mistake. Even if you're knowing the question, don't go fast. अब जरा वापस चलते हैं. इसको स्लो में सोचिए. मारने की तो बात ही नहीं है, शायद कुछ समझाने की बात हो रही है. In this examination, many of the students do wrong question because of thinking fast. You should go step by step. Step should be followed. Like the moment I say 372 multiplied by this, अब आप एक एक step follow कर रहे हो. So go step by step. First read the question without looking at the answer carefully. Words, whatever, take your time, take your breath there. and then look at the options, and then start, what do you call the elimination part. Okay, fine, this, not this, not this, not this, so this, or whatever. This is where you save. Otherwise, it happens. Many, arey yaar, bahar nikal kar, arey yaar. No, because you're fast on that. So don't be sloppy. It's going to be most important day of your life in various ways. So read it carefully, take your breathe, be there as if you have all time on this earth, and then read that way. Then you'll see that sometime even the anchor is coming, which you might have read somewhere. क्योंकि अगर आपने एक साल पढ़ाई की तो ये तो नहीं हुआ कि कहीं पढ़ा नहीं होगा. वो anchor click आ गया दिमाग में कि नहीं, that is important. And that anchor comes only when you are having all the breather there. So this is what we call stay calm. Don't be in haste. Okay? Don't be sloppy. So even if it's looking simple, then even. So yes, Gini coefficient is used for income inequality. B is answer. Then with reference to healthcare in India, which of the following statement is correct? The share of out-of-pocket expenditure in total healthcare expenditure has increased in recent year. No, it has reduced. Out-of-pocket expenditure is reducing. Government expenditure has increased. Medical insurance expenditure has increased. The proportion of death due to non-communicable diseases in India has decreased. ये बढ़ा है. Total death में जो, because now we are having more non-communicable diseases. Government health expenditure has increased. Yes, we know it has increased sizably now. And the Ayushman Bharat scheme primarily focuses on mental health. Ayushman Bharat is medical insurance along with development of health and wellness centers. So answer is, see, which is correct, अब यहाँ पे कई बार लोग इनकरेक्ट, इसको अंडरलाइन करना चाहिए आंसर लिखते समय. करेक्ट पूछ रहा है, नॉट पूछ रहा है, दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग. Then if you see that next question is, which of the following digital initiatives is related to healthcare? UWin is there, E-Sanjeevani is there, Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission is there, and all the three are digital interventions that way. So if you see, yes, all the three are the right answer. So UWin is something which is again very important digital interface, ensuring that all the database is shared. So next is the iDrone initiative recently seen in the news is primarily associated with which of the following? It is delivery of medical supplies to remote and inaccessible areas, or surveillance and monitoring of wildlife in protection areas. नहीं, mapping and surveying of agriculture land for crop insurance. इसको एक नाम दिया है उन्होंने crop insurance में. So even in comprehensive crop insurance scheme, which has been now called as Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, we are using satellite mapping for that. So if you see that the answer is going to be 1, because the rest 3 are wrong then. So if you see that the iDrone initiative recently seen in the news is primarily associated with delivery of medical supplies to remote and inaccessible areas. नाम ही वही है that in northeast. अब उसको हिमाचल में भी हम try कर रहे हैं. So that's how we got with the help of drone. So only 1 is right here. Consider following statements regarding Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. This is something which is routine one. Manrega was introduced in 2005. 2006 was the year where we got schemes. It's a central sponsored scheme. That means both central and state government are together. And whatever central government is spending, 40% goes for wages, 40% goes for machinery, 60% goes for wages. That's what is the proportion is here. That is the whole debate. So payments are made through the National Electronic Fund Management System. Yes, it is digital payment has been made. We have a dedicated portal with the geotagging. It has been integrated with various initiatives like Nutri Gardens and fodder farms. Yes, and to provide employment only to women beneficiaries. अब ये तो बच्चों जैसी बात हो गई फिर. It's not only for women beneficiaries. It is for everyone. And one thing is there that in Manrega we have more females. 55% are females, and that is what is called feminization of agriculture. Because as males are migrating, in village area, in labor forces, we got females more. So roughly 55% in Manrega are females. So that way 1 and 2 is right. बहुत सारे नए जो एक्सपेरिमेंट स्टेट्स कर रहा है उसको मनरेगा, बिकॉज मनरेगा में एक डिबेट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि इवन इफ यू आर गिविंग इट It is employment guarantee. Honorable Supreme Court in one of the cases in 2015 had said, Manrega is not about efficiency, labor efficiency, it is about their fundamental rights. That's why बार-बार एक debate आ रहा है कि Manrega is like what Keynes has once said, dig the hole, fill it and get the payment. You know, Keynes ने एक बार कहा था कभी किसी को free कुछ मत दो, ask them to dig a hole, ask them to fill it and then pay for it, so that they feel that productivity. अब अभी एक डिबेट सामने है एंड आई थिंक इट्स वर्थ डिस्कसिंग कि जब हम काम कर ही रहे हैं तो फिर बेकार का ही काम क्यों कराएं? वाई नॉट टू मेक प्रोडक्टिव, कुछ उसको कुछ प्रोडक्टिव होना चाहिए. एंड दैट इज ऑफ, जैसे से फॉर एग्जांपल वन थिंग कुड बी फॉडर फॉर्म्स, जैसे एनिमल्स के लिए फॉडर का, लाइफ स्टॉक मिशन में वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इट नाउ. So, because India is having what is called massive livestock population, and as per we have another census also for livestock. Are you aware of it? Livestock census says that India is having an increase of 4.6%. 19th census has happened recently. Sorry, 20th census. So 20th census has completed now. So as per 20th census, there is increase. Fodder is an issue. सो फॉडर को हम यूज़ कर सकते हैं यहाँ पर, तो कई जगहों पे फॉडर फॉर्म जैसी चीज़ को मनरेगा से ऐड किया है. बहुत सारे और चीज़ें हो सकती हैं, इट्स डिपेंड स्टेट टू स्टेट, बट वी शुड ट्राई टू मेक श्योर. तो यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट, द प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज़ वन सेड, बट देन ही टुक द बैक सीट. ही वन सेड कि वाई वी आर फोकसिंग मोर ऑन मैनुअल लेबर, हम थोड़ा टेक्नोलॉजी इंटरवेंशन को बढ़ाएं. लेट्स यूज़ मोर टेक्नोलॉजी ऑल्सो सो दैट प्रोडक्टिविटी और एफिशिएंसी कुड इंक्रीज. But as matter went to the court and court said this way, he went on the back foot कि नहीं ठीक है भाई, you know, it is obviously the matter of rights. But even I believe personally कि we should be using more technology intervention so that output is positive. Output is positive. कई सारे states में बहुत सारी studies, जैसे राजस्थान has done one thing कि some of the मनरेगा employees has been used for babysitters also. Those who are some literate females, अब कोई थोड़ी पढ़ी लिखी फीमेल्स हैं अगर, तो उनको मैनुअल वर्क कराने के बजाय बेबी सिटर की तरह आप यूज़ करो, ताकि बच्चों को थोड़ा पढ़ाना लिखाना भी और ये सब चीज़ें भी हो पाए. सो दीज काइंड ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स आर देयर एट लोकलाइज लेवल हियर एंड देयर, बट वी नीड टू गेट इट मोर कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड. So this is how we got when we talk about Manrega. Then which of the following is not a key initiative for rural development? Mission Amrit Sarovar is, I just told you, PM Janman is for tribal people, and when we say rural, rural means villages and tribal areas both. So PM Janman is there, yes. E-Vidya is for everyone. It is for the education sector, for everyone. Digital intervention, Swayam, E-Vidya. E-Vidya is a very good initiative. Now to it's chapter wise. It's chapter wise, class wise. How many of you seen those classes? At least one. Good. Worth listening. Trust me, बहुत सी classes बनाई हैं E-Vidya में. और अब तो शायद वो NEET preparation में भी आ रहे हैं. E-Vidya is now coming in the NEET preparation, also helping the students in the remote areas. So E-Vidya is a very good initiative where class-wise, chapter-wise quality video content has been provided now. So और मेरे ख्याल से time has come in CSR. आप सोच के देखिए, I'm wondering कि अगर वो 70 घंटे वाले भाई साहब, उनको एक काम करना चाहिए. Why not a tablet is created? एक टैब बनाओ आप और उस टैब में सारी क्लासेस प्री लोडेड हो, and that should be given the school premises to the kid. और आप वहाँ पे टीचर बोल सकते हैं कि आप कल ये पढ़ के आना, इस पर हम डिस्कशन करें. The quality might improve this way, and in the given constraint of the resources we can work. As a district magistrate, nobody is stopping you from doing all these things, and people are doing it also. ऐसा नहीं है वो. In fact, there is one very good article Indian Express publishes every year, that is called social entrepreneurship. तो वहाँ पे ऐसे बहुत सारी स्टोरीज आती हैं ऑफ वेरियस अथॉरिटीज, सिविल सर्वेंट्स, जो इस तरह के आउट ऑफ बॉक्स थिंकिंग कर रहे हैं. what they are doing is they are trying to do all these kind of things. Even I was reading one article from a student from Kerala, again one civil servant in Kerala. What he did, he made an app, and that app can be used to identify wherever food is available. So if you have extra food in your house, you can put it on app, and anyone require food can search कि आसपास में खाना कहाँ है, या आपको कोई दिखा हेल्प किसी को खाने की जरूरत है, आपने सर्च करके बता दे देखो भाई फला जगह पे 50 मीटर पे खाना है. So this is how we are ensuring कि food wastage भी कम हो रहा है, and we can incorporate all these things. ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें हो रही हैं. ट्रस्ट मी इतना भी खराब नहीं जितना पोर्ट्रे करता है मीडिया एट टाइम्स, कि जैसे आग लगी हुई है, कहाँ जाओगे नहीं बता रहे, लेकिन we need to talk better things also. And I personally believe what once Kalam Sahab rightly said, Dr. Kalam has once said, the first page of news should be with the positive news. Trust me, before every scoundrel, there's a hero also somewhere. That's where the balance is. आप heroes को appreciate ही नहीं कर रहे हो. You're only appreciating, so you're giving option be scoundrel, not to be scoundrel. You're not giving the option of being hero also. So wo bhi thoda sa, this all is the part of learning. That's what I said. SEL is now something which is considered to be important. We have to be a bit careful on these things, ki what we are reading, what we are exposed to, what kind of information we are getting. And so e-Vidya is something which is very good initiative. After SWAYAM, I must say e-Vidya is something which could be a game changer potentially. Then next is, consider the following statement regarding financial inclusion under the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana. Self-help women, I told you that here we are using self-help group women. Member have been positioned as banking correspondent Sakhi. This is something you should be aware of, that self-help group bank linking program is working since 1992. In India, self-help group was started in 1970s, you can say, especially, halaki story dates back to 1920s, but 1970s when Seva came up, Self-Employed Women Association, and Grameen Bank was popular by that time in Bangladesh. So that is where we got self-help group. Then NABARD in 1986 started acknowledging these self-help groups, and finally in 1992 we got self-help group bank linking program, where a kind of fund is created, roster fund is there, so that you take loan, you repay it, you again take loan, you again repay it. So in fact, is bar budget mein, if you're aware of, we had earmarked separate amount, or पिछले साल already 25,000 crore rupees has been set aside. 2,500 crore, sorry, not 25,000, it is 2,500 crore rupees set aside for what is called these self-help groups roster fund. So idea is that they should be getting benefits from the bank. You can take loan from the banks, and then you can do whatever you want to do for your empowerment, and then money should be repaid. So this, for this purpose, we have a banking correspondent, Sakhi is called, jo help karti self-help groups ko and provide them low-cost loan also. It covers both form and non-form livelihood. So yes, that is there. So that is how self-help group may work in both ways. So this is how we got both the statement are right here. So self-help group, वैसे भी it is in your syllabus explicitly given in second paper. In second paper अलग से दिया हुआ self-help group. And in India, I often believe self-help groups and cooperatives could be game changer. अगर इंडिया को, क्योंकि now we are in a cooperative moment. I am sure you are knowing that this year is International Year for Cooperatives. We are already talking about one new cooperative university, where IRMA, Anand, along with the Anand, that rural development institute, we are going to have cooperative institute. And in India, when cooperative started, anyone? Amul, you can say, but was the act was 1912. 1912 we got that act, Cooperative Act. उससे पहले 1904 we got Cooperative Act. 1912 it was amended. Then we got McLagan Committee, which recommended for certain changes in cooperatives, and since then cooperative became something. And in Constitution also, cooperative is in which list? State. Entry number? Like entry number I'm not expecting though. I'm not saying कि आपको entry number ध्यान रहना चाहिए. Entry number 23 though. So if you see this way, when it comes to cooperatives, and making cooperative is a fundamental right, as you know, which amendment? ये है UPSC. Cooperative पे इतनी बात हो रही, वहाँ जाएंगे वो. 97th amendment 2011, which makes it in which part? Where it is 19(1)(c). 19(1)(c). International Year of Cooperative, India is having separate ministry. Talking about cooperative movement, what UPSC will ask? This thing. This is what is called backward-forward linkages. That's how they do it. And cooperatives and self-help group have massive potential. अभी आप जानते हो, this is one thing at village level called PACs, Primary Agriculture Cooperative Societies. We are going to massively use them for seed cultivation. We are going to massively use them for what is called storage facilities. India is going to have world's largest agriculture storage facility now, with a capacity of 2,000 ton at every block level, with the help of these cooperative societies. So we are going to have a new brand called Bharat brand, which will be showcasing all these things. So keep an eye. ये आपके लिए both in prelims and mains going to be very important, क्योंकि it's we have a dedicated ministry for it. And you know also, if you know, just for as it, we are talking about it, for cooperative we also have one thing called Multi-State Cooperative Act 2002, which is when the cooperatives are in more than one states. So keeping this in mind, self-help group cooperatives, they are going to be game changer, because according to World Bank की एक definition है, governance is equal to government plus civil societies. If we promote civil societies which can help government, then only meaningful governance will come. So this way, these things are going to be significant. You should keep an eye on whatever development is there in self-help groups. And so here we have talked about it, how in NRLM we are promoting self-help groups. Lakpati Didis are the part of it, when 3 crore females are going to get benefited. लखपति दीदी में नंबर बढ़ा दिया गया. Earlier it was 2 crore, now it is 3 crores. So 3 crore females are going to get benefited. We have almost 10 lakh self-help groups registered under Ministry of Rural Development under this scheme. So this is how we got when we talk about self-help groups. Now next thing is, which of the following are correctly matched? Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is for construction of rural housing. Rural housing, almost 2.9 crore, if you say 2.79 crore houses has been made. And as I told you that we got a separate budgetary allocation this time, we are hoping this number to jump suddenly now. Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana is for rural connectivity, road connectivity, that is right. So one is right, second is right. Jal Jeevan Mission is for tap water. Then aspirational district is socio-economic development of the country is in underdeveloped districts, as you know, that aspirational district program. Currently, how many numbers of aspirational district we have? That is 117 to start with. We have 117 now. 117 now. वो 100 उसका है धन धान्य का. That's a different thing. So 100 is for Pradhan Mantri Dhan Dhanya scheme. So Nistha is for teachers training. So this is wrong. Fifth is wrong. And Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana providing road connectivity to urban habitation, that is wrong. So first is right, third is right, fourth is right, second and fifth are wrong. That makes it only 3. Here are a few questions also. You can give it a try at home. That and I'm keeping this as a priority. That what do you understand by sustainable developmental goals, localization, and discuss how it being implemented at the local government level in India. Highlight the key steps taken by the government in this regard. I must say, इस पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन के लिए दो आई हैड रिफर्ड यू, बट एक बार अगर आप ओरिजिनल डॉक्यूमेंट इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में वो बॉक्स पढ़ लोगे, लोकलाइजेशन ऑफ एसडीजी हैज बीन गिवन इन ए सेपरेट बॉक्स. ये जो बॉक्सेस हैं मेंस में बहुत काम आते हैं. So keep an eye on this. It could be a likely question. India had made significant stride in improving healthcare accessibility and affordability, but challenges persist. In light of the statement, discuss the key initiative taken by the government. So whatever expenditure government has increased, medical insurances has been provided, and then we are trying to have what is called various stakeholders on board. ये आप 3 चीज़ें करोगे कि एक्सपेंडिचर को कैसे कम करना है लोगों के लिए, एंड गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर शुड बी इंक्रीज, हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर शुड बी बेटर, education, medical education should be better, along with what is called ensuring affordability and quality healthcare at doorstep. So this is how we got what is needed. Education plays a pivotal role in India's socio-economic development. Discuss the challenges, also discuss the key initiative. अब इसमें आप सारी बातें करोगे, and we are also working on now one thing called digital learning and inclusive education for children with special need. Because RTE says compulsory, according to RTE, compulsory education for age group 6 to 14, right? Free and compulsory. So even those who are children with special needs, उनको भी इसका benefit मिलना चाहिए. and for them what could be, what needs to be done, because we still don't have enough of arrangements for children with special need. So uske liye, we already have one thing called Rehabilitation Council of India, working since 1992, which is the apex body for PWDs, and we already have an act called Rights of PWD, Rights of Person with Disabilities Act 2016, which talks about 21 types of disability. In sab ke liye, we need to have dedicated arrangements by identifying. That's why you should be aware of कि हम rigorous data collect कर रहे हैं कि in particular area which kind of disability is more, so that we can identify what are their needs and how that can be managed and so. So this was about this particular chapter. Making sense? Now, coming back to the point, next chapter is something which is relatively smaller though, so let's quickly finish it. That the chapter 12 is about employment and skill development. In India, the biggest challenge remains what is called structural unemployment. What is structural unemployment is? Structural unemployment is that situation where you don't have that skill which are the requirement of the job market. You may have skills, like we have various historians on record. We are producing so many history graduate students, what to do with them? Don't you think history should be taught with tourism? If history is taught with tourism, and also they are being given exposure that how they can contact Make My Trip and these kind of thing, they can create employment for themselves. Well, tourism has massive potential. अगर आप सोचो हिस्ट्री में आप ये भी पढ़ाओ केस स्टडीज की कैसे होम स्टेज को could be utilized for effective tourism, isn't it? So that's where we need to be careful कि we need to upgrade skills. India के साथ ये भी बड़ा issue है that most of our labor forces are not up to the mark skilled. So we need to identify first that upgradation of the skills that is needed, keeping this AI thing coming in mind. So AI is going to be disruptive. In that case, we need to be very careful that we are creating that kind of jobs. So this entire chapter is talking about what is the scenario of employment, where we stand, and what further needs to be done. First, they had given, let me tell you one thing. I'm sure you are aware of it here and there though, that from where we get the employment data and all. Before 2017, MOSPI used to give employment data at the gap of 5 years. So that was very obsolete then. That's why there was one agency, very important agency called Center for Monitoring of Indian Economy, CMIE. That data was taken seriously, CMIE data. But in 2017, government realized we should be giving our data on annual basis. And that's how we got periodical labor force survey given by NSO. That must, it's called NSO now. CSO and NSO has been merged in 2019 and we call it now NSO. So NSO provides data on yearly basis that is called as periodical labor survey report, right? So periodical labor force survey, which is something which is providing us annual data, and this survey, that's why 2017 is often the benchmark for various calculation. This survey provides data on certain indicators. First thing first, it talks about what is labor force participation rate. Labor force participation rate. And what is labor force participation rate? Simply putting, in the working age group, in any given country in the population, how many of them are in the working age group? Whether they are working or not is a different thing. So working age group ki population kitni hai, that is what is called labor force participation rate, LFPR. LFPR is a very important data. LFPR बढ़ा है India का. LFPR means those who want to work, those who are, as per definition, those who are capable and willing to work. So LFPR has increased. LFPR का बढ़ने का मतलब क्या? There are more people, either they are working or willing to work in the total population. एक डेटा हम इसका निकालते हैं LFPR का. Then we also get a data called population, working population ratio. That means how many of them are working, and then what is the total population. So total population versus how many of them are working. Be careful. ILO इसको दूसरी तरह से निकालता है. वो निकालते हैं कि how many of them are working in labor force. If that is, then it's called employment thing. हम क्या बोल रहे हैं? Workers population ratio. How many of them working in the total population. So if India's population is 100 and labor force population is 60, and let's say 30 working. So we are saying 30 with respect to 100, not 30 with respect to 60. That we also calculate, and then there's one called unemployment rate. Unemployment rate is how many of them are willing to work but not having work in labor force participation rate. So अच्छा, ये जब आप पीरियडिकल लेबर फोर्स का डेटा, कुछ नहीं करने की जरूरत है, सबसे अच्छा सोर्स ये है, आप सर्च करो पीरियडिकल लेबर फोर्स सर्वे PIB, तो you'll get the notification when basic definitions are also provided. So this is how workers population, periodical labor force participation rate, and we also calculate unemployment rate. The good part is that in India, unemployment rate has reduced now to hovering around something 3.2, which was close to 6 in the beginning. So 6 से हम घट के unemployment rate India में घटा है. That has reduced, and if you see that rural labor force participation rate has increased. ये पूरा data हम rural versus urban भी निकालते हैं and male versus female भी निकालते हैं. तो that's how we have 4 indicators: rural male, rural female, urban male, urban female, and rural versus urban. पूरे इंडिया का डेटा होता है एक्सेप्ट विलेजेस ऑफ अंडमान निकोबार, उसका डेटा हम नहीं यूज करते हैं यहाँ पे. डेटा निकालते कैसे हैं? देयर इज वन थिंग कॉल्ड करंट वीकली स्टेटस, मींस फॉर द लास्ट वीक व्हाट इज द डेटा, दैट इज कॉल्ड CWS, एंड देन वी हैव व्हाट इज कॉल्ड यूजुअल स्टेटस, दैट इज अक्रॉस 365 days. समटाइम वी आल्सो कैलकुलेट करंट डेली स्टेटस फॉर द गिवन डे. गिवन डे कितना वर्क किया है आपने, दैट इज करंट डेली स्टेटस, करंट वीकली स्टेटस एंड यूजुअल स्टेटस. एक चीज हम और निकालते हैं कि विच इज योर मेन वर्क एंड व्हाट इज योर सेकेंडरी वर्क. Secondary work is that work in 365 days you are doing more than 30 days. That's called secondary work. उसका डेटा भी आता है कि कितने लोग ऐसे हैं which are doing secondary work and so and so. So we have very exhaustive data here to tell us that overall what is the employment situation. तो यहाँ पे इन्होंने क्या किया, उसका डेटा लिया है periodical labor force survey का, और वहाँ से कुछ references दिए हैं. तो अगर आप देखो तो as I just told you कि in the beginning कि in India 26% of the population is the age group of 10 to 24. That gives us a demographic dividend. 26% पॉपुलेशन क्वाइट यंग है, 10 से 24. अच्छा, 10 से 24 क्यों रख रहे हैं, इसका एक रीज़न है. यूथ पॉलिसी, नेशनल यूथ पॉलिसी यूथ को कई सारे कैटेगरीज में डिवाइड करती है. यूथ आफ्टर 25 इज कंसिडर्ड इन डिफरेंट कैटेगरी. अब वो यहाँ पे आई एम नॉट गोइंग दैट वे, बट द क्लासिफिकेशन हैज बीन टेकन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ नेशनल यूथ पॉलिसी. So 10 to 24 years के basis पे, if you see 26% of the population, that means India is youngistan, if I could say this way. It's a youngistan, young country है, potentials बहुत हैं, if utilized properly, and if not, could lead to civil war. That's why it's very important, we should be very careful that this demographic dividend should be reaped. And then India, as you know, is going to be third largest economy, we are hoping, by 2030. Third largest economy after what is called, जो है first is definitely is US and then China, and third is going to be India, because as of now we are fifth. We are fifth. First is USA, second is China, third is Japan, fourth is Germany, fifth is India, sixth is UK. India और UK, they keep on changing the positions at certain intervals. ये हम अगर हम बात करें GDP nominal में, PPP में story अलग हो जाती है. PPP में China is first, USA is second, India is third. India is third in PPP, in GDP PPP में अगर हम calculate करें तो. So if you see this way, India is third largest economy that way, making it definitely what's called, और अगर हमें by 2030 third largest economy होना है, if you want to go that far, हमारा target है 7 trillion economy का that time, 2030 तक. So in that situation, we need to be very careful कि हमें अपने इस demographic dividend को reap करना होगा. In fact, stories of Japan has been given in the original document, that what they have done, how they have encashed it. Unemployment rate has declined to 3. ये data आपको पता होना चाहिए वैसे. It's an important data. It has declined to 3.2 in 23-24 from 6 of 2017 to 18. ये key data है. At least you should be aware of. Labor force participation rate has increased from 49.3 to 50.4, and worker population, can you see worker to population ratio means what? How many of them working with total population? That has increased from 46% to 47%, overall giving a good picture. Overall giving a good picture that people are more working, and they will be into further working because we are also in demographic window. सेक्टोरल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन अगर आप देखें तो एग्रीकल्चर शेयर बढ़ा है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का शेयर घटा है. एग्रीकल्चर शेयर बढ़ा है एंड इवन फीमेल एम्प्लॉयमेंट हैज इंक्रीज इन द रूरल एरियाज. ये दो चीजें इंडिकेट कर रही हैं कि नॉन फॉर्म सेक्टर इन इंडिया इज ग्रोइंग नाउ, thanks to one scheme called Kisan Sampada. It's a very important scheme for food processing. So food processing is something which is now yielding result. Food processing, we have 3-4 major important development. One is Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada, and in the same line we have Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada. And then we have second one is called top to total formalization, when 10,900 crore rupees has been earmarked in as a PLI scheme. And third is Pradhan Mantri formalization of micro enterprises. So ये तीन चीज़ें फूड प्रोसेसिंग को in a way promoting food processing in India. And if this data is interpreted, you can say that agriculture employment share is increasing simply means that non-farm activities are also increasing, and you can say rural employment is increasing. If you see that manufacturing share has fallen a bit, female labor force participation has increased. अब ये routine data है. Female labor force participation has been increased in 2023-24 if we compare with 2017-18. So the current data is 41.7. ये पिछले economic survey में भी दिया हुआ था. So nothing much to say. So 41.7% is the case. Most of the states, almost 21 states, are having female labor force participation rate in the range of 30 to 40. That's a good news. क्योंकि फीमेल का लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, कंसिडरिंग कि इफ यू वांट टू इंश्योर रूरल प्रॉस्पेरिटी. सो देयर आर 7 स्टेट्स हैविंग लेस देन दिस, बट अगर आप देखो तो सिक्किम में सबसे ज़्यादा फीमेल लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट दिखा है. आई डोंट नो, बट वंदना शिवा, does it ring bell to anyone? Who is Vandana Shiva? Environmentalist and Vandana Shiva. ठीक है, I know that very good. That anyone else? Ecofeminist, as you can call it. She has very rightly said, and कि अब देखो सिक्किम फीमेल पार्टिस का वो भी ऑर्गेनिक एग्रीकल्चर भी कर रहा है. If you see this way, so sustainability and gender empowerment goes hand in hand. Hand in hand, there are several proofs for it. Vandana Shiva is one of those names. अब ये सब नाम ध्यान रहने चाहिए आपको. While writing answers, you can quote them here and there. So यहाँ पे they had given a quick reference also that what are programs which has been given. We have very important program called PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana. PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana is, now we got the 5th tranche of it. That's called 5.0. We have made a separate ministry for skill development and entrepreneurship from 2015 onwards. Earlier it was under Ministry of Labor, but now there is one ministry called Ministry of Labor and Employment, and there's another ministry called Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship from 2015. And this ministry is having very ambitious scheme called Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Now we are having 5th tranche of it, that is called 5.0. So 4.0, 3.0, 2.0, that's how. And even we got now, you know, PM Vishwakarma also last year. PM Vishwakarma is another very important development. 18 different types of traditional work has been acknowledged there. So skill development, we have another very important scheme, already has been asked. It is in collaboration with World Bank called Sankalp. दो स्कीम है जो वर्ल्ड बैंक के साथ इंडिया में है. दिस वन इज कॉल्ड संकल्प एंड इज कॉल्ड स्ट्राइव. And दोनों में what we do longitudinal monitoring also. कि skill, once the skill is given, how much of them are getting jobs, उसको भी हम follow up ले रहे हैं. So we are taking follow up of it, and we are now making that curriculum which is keeping the global market in mind, because India में global market को cater करने की potential है. What we are looking at, हालांकि what Trump has done is definitely going to be a dent on that, but what we are trying कि if we are certifying our skills, they don't need to write any examination anywhere. Our certification should be that quality. This is where World Bank is helping us. So Sankalp and Strive, these are some of the initiatives through which we are saying quiet development is there. These are the schemes which we are ensuring to provide better skill to the labor forces. Then credit guarantee scheme, startup support, employment guarantee, micro food processing, I just quoted it. Adivasi Mahila Sashaktikran Yojana, NCDC supports. These are some of the major schemes which we have for ensuring that skill development is provided and female labor force participation is increasing because of all these things. There's a credit guarantee scheme is there. I hope you're knowing that. Say for example, if I don't have any females के साथ सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत क्या है? They don't have land ownership. And if they don't have land ownership, वो loan किसके against ले? उनको बैंक लोन भी नहीं देगा फिर. Obviously, as a male, if I have agriculture land, I can get easy access to loan. Only 12%, as per socio-economic caste census data, only 12% of females are having ownership on agricultural land. If in that case, how they can get loan? For this, we got one thing called credit guarantee scheme, where the guarantee of loan is taken by this government. Government has an agency for it under Ministry of Finance called NCGTC, National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company. NCGTC takes care of all these credit guarantees. So we are providing credit guarantee to these things. Startup support system, you know already. In startup support system, there is one portal called Udyam portal, where 25% of the females are beneficiary. In fact, this time, again, if you see that we have increased their limit. So इस बार बजट में अब उनको लोन अमाउंट 20 लाख रुपए तक मिल सकता है. सो उद्यम इज समथिंग विच इज डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू प्रमोट फीमेल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. फीमेल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, एक नीति आयोग की एक रिपोर्ट थी, नॉट अ सरप्राइज दैट रिपोर्ट हैज बीन आस्क्ड ऑलरेडी इन द क्वेश्चन फॉर्मेट इन मेंस, कॉल्ड मूविंग द निडल. मूविंग द निडल इज अबाउट फीमेल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. So in सब का जिक्र किया है इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने. They have compiled at one place all these things, what has been done in the original document and how these things are, and then how we are having formalization, and now even in various procurement. देखिए, for any sector if you want to promote, create demand. सो डिमांड क्रिएट करने के लिए नाउ 3% ऑफ प्रोक्योरमेंट जितनी भी आपकी सेंट्रल पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइज हैं, वी हैव रफली 300 CPSEs इन इंडिया, करीब 300 के आसपास हैं. सो दीज CPSEs दे आर सपोज टू प्रोक्योर देयर रूटीन एक्सपेंडिचर थिंग्स फ्रॉम दीज फीमेल लेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, जो जहाँ पे फीमेल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप रही हो. This way we are creating additional demand for them so that they can come forward and can participate. So उसका पूरा जिक्र किया है इन्होंने. And if you see that overall wages has increased also. So average monthly earning for regular wagers, salaried workers and self-employed has grown at CAGR of 5% from 2018 to 2023. This is what economic survey is talking about. कि monthly earning, average monthly earning किसकी किसकी बढ़ी है? Regular wages में भी बढ़ा है, salaried workers की भी बढ़ी है, और self-employed workers की भी बढ़ी है. So you can say that overall अगर हम देखें across the time, तो salaries increase हुई हैं. तो wages में there is increase, and if you see the daily wages of casual worker has also increased by 9%. जो आपके casual workers हैं उनका भी salary बढ़ा है. Overall you can say if wages are increasing, it shows a positive remark in terms of overall performance of the economy, and people are contributing more. Rural wages में भी अगर हम देखें तो जो है रेट बढ़ा है both for men and women, but कंपेयर करें तो अर्बन से थोड़ा कम है, और इन्फ्लेशन एडजस्ट अगर हम करें तो वैल्यू थोड़ी और कम हो जाती है. हैव यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन्फ्लेशन एडजस्टमेंट, कि वट एवर वैल्यू हैज इंक्रीज और इन्फ्लेशन कितना बढ़ा है उसको कंपेयर करें अगर, तो देन वी कैन से दैट इफेक्टिव. हम जब भी कोई भी चीज़ देखते हैं कि वेजेस में बढ़ा है तो वेजेस हम नॉमिनल देखते हैं, दैट ओवरऑल कितना बढ़ा है, फिर इन्फ्लेशन. अब जैसे से फॉर एग्जांपल मेरी सैलरी 100 रुपीज़ से 107 हो गई, तो आप कहोगे वेजेस में 7% इंक्रीज है, बट इन्फ्लेशन 8% बढ़ा, तो रियल में तो एक्चुअली कम हो गई. तो दिस इज हाउ वी कॉल नॉमिनल एंड रियल इंक्रीज. सो रियल इंक्रीज थोड़ा सा अगर आप देखो तो आपको कम दिख रहा है यहाँ पर, 0.6 फॉर मेन एंड 1.8 फॉर वुमेन. That is one data which is little to be worried about, कि rural wages उतना नहीं बढ़े हैं, which should be increasing in the same proportion. एक ये चौंकाने वाला डेटा, इस पे they had given very important case study also. And I'm very happy कि chief economic advisor has not taken sides here. बहुत क्लियरली उन्होंने बोला कॉर्पोरेट प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ी है. कॉर्पोरेट प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी हैज़ इंक्रीज टू अ 15-year पीक, लेकिन उस प्रोपोर्शन में एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं बढ़ा. So corporate profitability has increased now to what is called 22.3%. This is where in the original document a case study has been given in Japan, that how in Japan when corporate profit has increased, they gave share of this profit to employers. So employees were given share of this profit by the employer. तो जब कॉर्पोरेट प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी बढ़े तो कायदे से होना क्या चाहिए, इफ इट इज गोइंग बियॉन्ड अ पॉइंट, एक्स्ट्रा बोनसेस एंड सच थिंग्स शुड बी गिवन, मोर जॉब्स शुड बी क्रिएटेड. वो बड़ा अच्छा पार्ट था. दिस इज समथिंग वेयर द टीचर प्रॉब्ली केम आउट, बिकॉज चीफ इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर बिफोर दिस जॉब वॉज टीचर इन सिंगापुर यूनिवर्सिटी. तो कहीं ना कहीं उनके अंदर का टीचर आया है, दिखा है पहली बार कि हाँ, बिकॉज जनरली एट दैट पोस्ट यू हैव टू बी very careful while saying, because आप government के face भी होते हो, but he had not bothered much about it and had said very categorically कि ये profit, corporate profit का बढ़ना अच्छी बात है, there's nothing wrong into it, but it should be also redistributed. It will create a faith in the system, दोनों तरफ. Obviously, as an employee, if I got suddenly my boss is saying कि you are given this bonus because we have done good work, so definitely a kind of win-win situation will be created. So this is what advice has been given. I'm sure nobody is going to listen this, but then even keep talking at least, you know, कोई नहीं सुनने वाला इस बात को, but this is what has happened. अगर आप देखें तो e-Shram portal already is a very important thing, has been introduced. e-Shram portal is a 12-digit ID card for labor forces. 12-digit का एक ID card होता है, where all the entries, kind of labor you have, kind of skills, expertise, all these things are certified. And e-Shram portal is also where employer can go to identify when they want labor. अगर उन्हें labor चाहिए तो employer भी वहाँ जा सकते हैं. So e-Shram portal is very important development. अब तो now gig workers में भी gig workers are also on board in e-Shram portal. e-Shram portal पे register we are having these kind of things. हालांकि some of you might be angry, those who are graduates, और अगर आपने e-Shram पे अपना registration कराया है तो, because they said कि unemployment wages दिए जाएंगे, अभी तक तो नहीं आया, कि वो कह रहे थे अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट वेजेस दिए जाएंगे ई-श्रम पोर्टल पे इफ यू आर रजिस्टर्ड एंड इफ यू आर ग्रेजुएट. तो अभी तक नहीं आया, बट गवर्नमेंट हैज क्लेरिफाइड इट कि ये व्हेन एवर द फाइनेंस विल अलाउ, यू नो. सो दिस इज हाउ व्हेन वी गॉट दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग. वैसे भी आई थिंक नाउ इट शुड अलाउ, बिकॉज 4.4% इज गोइंग टू बी फिस्कल डेफिसिट. You know, in true sense also you are having lesser borrowing now. I think this year budget we are going to have borrowing of 15,68,000 crore only, because total budget is of 50,65,000 crore, right? I hope you're knowing this data in budget. So our fiscal deficit is going to be even value wise also lesser, because last year it was slightly higher than this. Slightly higher than that. So considering this, when you are going to buy, your fiscal deficit is controlled, unemployment wages दिए जा सकते थे, would have been considered. Maybe they are keeping it for during elections or something like that. क्योंकि एक आदमी अभी अरविंद विरमानी को नीति आयोग में स्पेशली बुलाया गया है. This is something which is definitely a question कि नीति आयोग में why Arvind Virmani specially called. Arvind Virmani was the man who talked about basic assured income way back. तो कुछ तो चल रहा है, what exactly is there, I don't want to guess on it, but कुछ तो है. Why specially you have invited that fellow to be on board. So जैसा भी है, but that's how we got e-Shram portal and one-stop solutions. A wonderful thing, needless to say, when all the database is at one place. And obviously job creation को लेकर उन्होंने कहा कि labor codes has done overall good, and digital economy में भी यहाँ पे गिग, वो ये थोड़ा डेटा मुझे ऑड लग रहा है, इट मस्ट बी 2.35 करोड़ एज पर नीति आयोग प्रोजेक्शन बाई 2030. अभी 2020 में वी गॉट रफली 77 लाख गिग वर्कर्स, एंड प्रोजेक्शन इज बाई 2030 इट विल बी ऑलमोस्ट 2.35 करोड़. So here it's a misprint by, sorry for that, it's 2.35 not 23.5, so बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाएगा 23.5 अगर gig worker हो गए तो, but 2.35 gig workers we will be having by 2029 30. और ऐसे में गिग वर्कर्स को आपको मेन फ्रेम में लाना होगा. दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव डन इन दिस बजट. नीति आयोग हैज गिवन अ रिपोर्ट फॉर इट. आप उसको देख सकते हो, नीति आयोग की वेबसाइट पे है. दैट इज कॉल्ड रेज प्लेटफॉर्म, RAISE, रेज प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर गिग वर्कर्स, gig and platform workers. Gig worker, those who are having freelancing approach, and those gig workers which are using digital platform are called platform workers. So we have labor codes, you know, 4 labor codes are there. Industrial Relations Code, Social Security Code, Occupational Safety Code, and Minimum Wages Act. So these 4 labor codes which were introduced in 2020 has definitely been a game changer now. उसका जिक्र उन्होंने किया है. And building a green workforce, क्योंकि you know renewable energy is something which is priority. In fact, in budget you might be noticed. Have you noticed this nuclear energy debate? We got this nuclear energy debate coming up in budget. In budget we had talked about it. कि we are going to have produce 100 gigawatt energy through nuclear by 2047. Currently we are cultivating how much? 8 gigawatt. And for this we need to amend. वो बिल आने वाला है, देखना होगा कैसे करेंगे, क्योंकि फिर आपको सिविल लाइबिलिटीज बिल को चेंज करना होगा. सिविल लाइबिलिटीज बिल यू हैव टू चेंज. और इन वी आर सेइंग वी विल मेक इन बजट. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम मेंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. अगर आप कहीं लिस्ट बना रहे हो, न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी डिबेट क्योंकि इतना आसान नहीं होने वाला. रिमेंबर भोपाल गैस ट्रेजेडी, we should not be forgetting कि अगर what could be the quantum of disaster. So keeping that in mind, we should be very careful on drafting such bills. कि न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी पे कितना हम obviously solar energy is something which is doing good. We already had given what is called a lot of discounts on basic duty. वो थोड़ा सा ट्रम्प इम्पैक्ट भी दिखा कि CBD has been reduced in budget. You might have noticed कि CBD on various things has been reduced because एक tariff war शुरू हो चुका है already. Trump has triggered it. So ये देखिए, these are the things which are significant from nuclear energy is a very important debate now. एनर्जी आपके सिलेबस में है, मेंस में नहीं आएगा, ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता. कैसे पूछेंगे, लेट देम डिसाइड. वो आप मत डिसाइड करो, लेकिन डोमेन क्लियर होना चाहिए कि हाँ दिस इज व्हाट इट इज. और इंडिया में फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर वाज सेइंग इन द बजट की वी आर गोइंग टू मेक आवर ओन इंडिजिनस यूनिट्स ऑल्सो. देखना होगा कैसे करेंगे, व्हाट विल बी द अप्रोच फॉर इट. So this is how we got what is called building a green workforce. तो बहुत सारी self help groups are coming in this part of solar entrepreneurship. हालांकि हाइड्रोजन एनर्जी इज अनदर पोटेंशियल वी हैव. यू नो वी हैव हाइड्रोजन अलायंस, इंटरनेशनल हाइड्रोजन अलायंस ऑल्सो. सो सोलर अलायंस भी है ऑलरेडी. सो इंडिया में सोलर एनर्जी इज समथिंग विच वी आर प्रायोरिटाइजिंग. क्लाइमेट स्मार्ट सोल्यूशन विद द डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी हैज़ द पोटेंशियल टू क्रिएट जॉब्स. सो अगर हम ये एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन करते हैं, यू नो दिस एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन इंडेक्स, सो एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन में इंडिया इज हैविंग पोटेंशियल बिकॉज स्टिल अभी हमारे साथ दिक्कत क्या है, वी आर स्टिल यूजिंग अ लॉट ऑफ व्हाट यू कैन से थर्मल एनर्जी. हालांकि इट वाज वेरी राइटली सेड बाय नीति आयोग. आई एम जस्ट गिविंग अ रेफरेंस, बाकी आप अपने रूटीन उसमें इसको पढ़ा होगा आपने. नीति आयोग हैज गिवन अ वेरी गुड आइडिया. जैसे हमने जल शक्ति बनाया, बिकॉज अभी भी एनर्जी में भी सेम प्रॉब्लम. वी हैव डिफरेंट डिफरेंट मिनिस्ट्रीज, डिफरेंट एंड लैक ऑफ कोऑर्डिनेशन इज मिसिंग. सो नीति आयोग हैज गिवन एन एडवाइस, मेक वन मिनिस्ट्री कॉल्ड मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनर्जी. मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनर्जी, यू नो जो भी नाम देना चाहें आप, ऊर्जा जैसे भी नाम दें, सूर्यदेव, जैसे जो भी वॉट एवर यू वांट, बट मेक वन मिनिस्ट्री and within that ministry one for production, one for research, one for finance, one unit for various kind of subsidies. वो ज़्यादा बेहतर है बजाय से you are having so multiple channels, so many multiple channels when it comes to village distribution, to urban distribution and all. So considering this, yes, इसको हम green workforce कहते हैं. तो green workforce is on the rise, and skill development पे upskilling पे बहुत focus है, because look at this data. This data you should be using in your mains. That periodical labor force data shows that 90.2% of the workforce has equivalent to or less than a secondary level of education. Secondary level से कम है उनका education या उसके बराबर है. कितने workforce का? 90.2. That means they will be doing the meager job only. They can't do that upskill, high skill jobs. और AI में these jobs are easily replaceable. ये जो job है, they are easily, because AI is going to what is called disrupt these kind of jobs more. So हमें upskilling करनी होगी. 4.9% of the youth in the age cohort of 15 to 29 years have received formal vocational training, and 21.2 received training through informal sources. ये periodical labor force का report है कि अभी भी हम बहुत कम है, 4.9%. Now compare this with South Korea, 96%. 96% of the youths are getting formal skill development program. China, 37%. USA, again, data is hovering around somewhere 40 plus. We are at 4.9%. This data need to increase. Yes, ma'am. हाँ वो हो गया है, वो हो जाता है इतने बड़े डॉक्यूमेंट में. इट माइट बी, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग. यू कैन सी द ओरिजिनल डेटा. आप नीति आयोग पे जाओगे और नीति आयोग, you search one thing called platform worker, Niti Ayog report. A report will open, and that they had given a box, and that box has given the data that 77 lakh in 2020, and by 2029-30 it will be how much? 2.35 crore. So that's how it is. So वैसे भी 23% बहुत, 23 करोड़ बहुत हो गए, राइट? पर होता है. एक और मिस्टेक है, इफ आई कुड टेल यू, इन द प्रीफेस इटसेल्फ उन्होंने ईयर गलत लिखा है, पर वो ठीक है, वो उतना चलता है इतने बड़े डॉक्यूमेंट में. इवन इन इकोनॉमिक्स एक्सेप्ट ±2% मिस्टेक इज एक्सेप्टेबल. उसको हम मान के चलते हैं डिस्क्रिपेंसी में. So this is how we got, when we talk about what we got, this idea of skill development, reskilling and new skilling, keeping this AI challenge in mind. So 4.9% of the youth को formal training मिल रही है, इसको बढ़ाने की जरूरत है. कैसे कर सकते हैं? It will be possible only when we have dedicated skill institutions. Online skilling program has to be intensified. So 88.2% of the workforce are involved in low competency occupancy. इसको हमें ठीक करना होगा, क्योंकि हम इंडिया में पोटेंशियल एक ऐसा सेक्टर है जो AI प्रूफ है. इंडिया इज हैविंग एन अपर हैंड इनटू दैट, and time has come for skilling into that, and that is what? Care industry. Because we, अब देखिए ये सब जोड़ के देखिए, if we are making our kids good in social emotional learning, पूरी दुनिया में the most promising work is going to be the care, emotional care of people, and we are at advantage. We Indians are at advantage because we have that capacity to change our accent as per American, European, whatever. This is what we are gifted at. Not other countries are. This comes naturally to us. This is the future. I'm talking 20 years, 25 years down the line, if you are very good in handling people emotionally. That's why मैंने आपको कहा IQ से ज़्यादा important है emotional intelligence. क्योंकि ये सबसे बड़ी जॉब है, और ये बिल्कुल AI प्रूफ है. I don't know, हो सकता है AI को भी जरूरत पड़े इसकी. I don't know, obviously, because we have got one report coming up now that anger was shown by that artificial machine in Japan. If anger has been shown, so there is a need for emotional balance then. So, now, I don't know, they are using a name for it. Anyone from science can tell me, from robotics background, they are using some name for this problem. कि ये बहुत बड़ा इशू हो सकता है कि अगर नाराज होकर उसने अपने आप को रिप्लिकेट करना शुरू किया तो, जो चिट्ठी में दिखाया था. They are using a name for it in robotics. Anyone from robotics background? A particular name of this problem, क्योंकि AI is not going to be completely free from challenges. Don't think this way. It's not solution for every problem. That is there, but the point remains that we are still not having those kind of, so we need to understand the future market. We have to upskill that way, and then in fact, skilling for a changing world में reskilling, upskilling में क्या क्या करने की जरूरत है? As you know, we already have what is called under PM Vishwakarma. So many people have registered. Then craftsman training scheme is under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. वहाँ पे we got registrations coming up. So this is how we got, and if you see Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas mein females participation has also increased. So this is how they have talked about overall what is the scenario. Digital public infrastructure, as I just told you, could be the game changer. So this chapter was mostly focusing upon what is the need of skill development, upskilling, reskilling in the wake of AI, how digital intervention could be useful, and it has taken reference of periodical labor force survey data and made a compare from 2017 to 17-18 to 2023-24, showing that how female labor force participation rate has increased, showing that how overall unemployment rate has decreased from 6 to 3.2, showing that how you can say rural wages has relatively increased but slightly lesser than the urban, but in all categories like even self-employed, even casual workers, regular workers. One thing which it has shown concern also, that corporate profitability has increased but is not translating into the job in same proportion, and that's why redistribution is something which should be highlighted, and digital intervention is needed, keeping this AI challenges in mind. In fact, last chapter जो especially इसी dedicated है, that's why यहाँ पे उसकी उतनी बात नहीं हुई है कि how AI is going to change the India's job market. That is going to be the last chapter of economic survey. So this is how we got when we talk about what are these things, how you can get benefited from this chapter. If you see from prelims point of view, not much of the scope because of routine data, but from mains point of view, these data are very useful to substantiate your answers whenever the question is being asked. So that's how we got, so in one line, India's employment and skill development strategies focus on formalization, digital skilling and workforce participation, but job creation must accelerate. We have to create more jobs at a faster pace, and by identifying the new potential markets. हमें नई potential markets को identify करना होगा, and it's very important that when it comes to upskilling, skill development program should go on you can say at war front level now, क्योंकि जब तक आपके पास skills नहीं है, probably you will not be job ready then. And one more thing here is, एक अच्छी बात है यहाँ पे survey में, if you want to read the original document, अभी नहीं, maybe during mains you can, they had put a debate on labor efficiency versus employment. कि सिर्फ employment की बात ना करें, it should be employment with the labor efficiency. That means the output also should increase. Otherwise, it will reach nowhere. So, you know, that is called disguised unemployment. So, there's no point of increasing, and agriculture employment in non-farm increasing is good. Agriculture employment in the farm doesn't make sense. So, this is how we have talked about what is this chapter and what the dimensions are. This document we have rigorously worked on to identify what you must remember, keeping your prelims and mains in mind. Let's quickly look into the questions, and then if we can say that, let's quickly look into that question, that which of the following are correct about the labor force participation rate. किसको बोलते हैं ये? The proportion of the working age population that is either working or actively looking for it. Yes, but this is what the definition itself is. Labor force participation rate increased in India in recent years. That's true also. Labor force participation rate has increased, as I told you, that we are now into the bracket of 50s, 50% की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं, and then it is same as worker to population ratio. 9. Worker to population ratio is how many of them are working with respect to total population. With respect to total population, that is worker to population ratio. So in that way, 1 and 2 is right, third is wrong. Answer would be 1 and 2, right? Next is, consider the following statement regarding sectoral workforce distribution. The share of agriculture in employment has increased from 2017 to 2023. It's a good news, and I told you it is non-farm sector which is growing, but we need more than, again, I'm taking the data from economic survey, we need to create more than 80 million jobs. Then only we can go to what is called Viksit Bharat, because unless until you are not going for rural prosperity, you can't reach there. क्योंकि विकसित होने के लिए क्या जरूरी था? Per capita income has to increase. Per capita income has to increase, and that will not be possible without agriculture export. Because I have been knowing that when it comes to per capita income, what is important is C plus G plus I plus X minus M. And India has potential where इंडिया हैज़ मोर पोटेंशियल इन एक्सपोर्ट, क्योंकि अभी भी वो माइनस में है, नेट एक्सपोर्ट हमारा माइनस में जाता है अगर हम C+G+I+X-M की बात करें। ये जो डेटा आता है इसको अगर आप पॉपुलेशन से डिवाइड करो, दिस इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड पर कैपिटा जीडीपी, फिर आप इसमें ऐड कर दो नेशनल नेट फैक्टर इनकम फ्रॉम अब्रॉड, दिस इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड gives you per capita GNI, and this per capita GNI is the basis on which we judge whether we are developing or developed. So वो बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हमें we need to create more jobs. We are creating job, but that's not good enough. We have to expedite it further. The share of manufacturing in employment declined during the same period. So that I have told you कि manufacturing में थोड़ा कम हुआ, that's why we are talking special boost on it. And the service sector has overtaken agriculture as the largest employer. ये तो वैसे भी बहुत दूर की बात हो गई, agriculture almost half of the job. So service sector is something which is more in your GDP contribution. Agriculture sector, how much is the GDP contribution of agriculture? 18%, and services is roughly 55%, 54 to 55%. But when it comes to job creation, it's not that way. Agriculture creates more job. So first is right, second is wrong. The share of manufacturing employment declined, so that is also right, and service sector has overtaken agriculture in the largest employer, that is wrong. So 1 and 2 is right, answer will be B. Which of the following labor codes has been introduced to simplify labor laws in India? As you know that India has been one of those countries which is having most stringent labor laws till recent. And if you see that, thanks to Justice Verma committee, that is called Second Law Commission 1998, which has recommended for labor reforms. And on the recommendations of Justice Verma committee, finally, Ravindra Verma was his name. So on the basis of Justice Verma committee, we got labor reforms initiated. We got Shram Shakti in 2016, and finally we got 4 labor codes, which has subsumed more than 196 labor laws. So these 4 labor codes are very important. Is Industrial Relations Code. Second is what is called Social Security Code, Occupational Safety Code, and Minimum Wages Code. So that's how we got Code on Wages 2019 is the part of it. Code on Social Security, very important for social security purposes. सबसे important ये है Industrial Relation Code. अब देखो अब छोटा सा फर्क है कि अगर मैं छोटा सा कोई एग्जाम्पल बताऊं, that how in Rajasthan story got changed. Rajasthan में earlier what was the case, that in Rajasthan, let's say if I have a factory making marble and all, so the moment I got 90 laborers, instead of expanding it further, I make another factory, because I know the moment there are 100, they will make labor union, and labor union means at a chalbena, it will start that way, and this will lead to, because look, you know that how labor unionism, and what do you think, these trade unions are not, they are not only fighting for social justice, don't think this way. So when I said Bengali, because we, I hope you can understand that has been, it was the Chief Minister of Bengal, who had been very vocal of industrial relationship, and the trade union should be the stakeholder into that. That's why it is often symbolizes in Bengali. But somehow, of late, we have seen that trade unionism has lost its purpose. And that's the reason why it was said कि अब आप ऐसा भी तो deliberate भी तो हो सकता है. अब एक बार trade union बन गया तो they are having a number of demands and disruptions. So वो छोटे छोटे factories लगाते हैं. अभी they have changed the rule, and now it's that trade unions can be made when there are 300 laborers. अब वही सब लोग अपना फिर से एक साथ इकट्ठा कर रहे हैं, and they're having bigger factories now. And production cost has reduced. Obviously, it will be going further to the customers. So this way, when it comes to industrial relation code, इसको बहुत ज़रूरी था change करना, and it has been brought. And then occupational safety, health and working conditions, ये भी बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि work conditions has to be favorable, safety protocols should be there, and so all the 4 are the part of it, right? Then answer would be then D. What is the primary purpose of e-Shram portal? To register and provide support to unorganized worker. India में idea है कितना informal sector है? almost 90%. 90% is still informal sector, and that's why we have to work on it. And then to facilitate digital payment for laborers, nahi, uske liye to we are having various initiatives here and there, but that is not the part of e-Shram portal. To provide legal aid to contract worker, no. To track rural employment under Manrega, nahi. So A is the answer. One is, consider following statement regarding India's demographic advantage. India has around 26% of its population in the age group of 10 to 24. You should keep this data in mind. 26% are there. India's median age is lower than that of developed countries. ये तो natural corollary है कि अगर ये है तो फिर तो ये हो गई. So that's how median age हमारी कम है. I think it's hovering around 29.4 as per the 23-24 data. So median age हमारी कम है. That is giving us demographic window advantage. India is expected to be the second largest economy by 2030. I wish it should be. And first China, second India, ये भी चलेगा. Isn't it? It should be in Asia at least. So this way, by the way, but it is it's going to, we are hoping it will be third largest by 2030. So this is how we got when we talk about, so answer is going to be 1 and 2. Consider the following statement regarding skilling in India. Female labor force participation rate has increased in the recent years. You know now, almost 21 states are observing it between 30 to 40, and Sikkim is having highest, 56%. So most states have FPR in range of 30-40. So both the statements are right. इसी बहाने थोड़ा आपका रिवीजन भी हो जा रहा है उन चीज़ों का, those data which are the key data which you should be considering in mind. Consider the which of the following statement about wages and employment trends in India is correct? Corporate profit grew at a faster rate than the employment and that is what is concerned. You know, casual workers saw an increase. Yes. Rural wages have remained stagnant in the past 2 years. 9%. You know, if you say that, but real sense में almost stagnant रहा है. So rural wages has remained stagnant in the past 2 years. ये कहना गलत होगा. Real sense में it's not growing at that rate which it should be. And regular wages, salaried workers and self-employed worker increased during recent years. So regular wages, salaried workers and self-employed workers has increased, that you have seen that there is continuous increase into this. And then if you see that rural wages has remained stagnant, that is wrong. Casual workers saw an increase, that is true. Corporate profit grew at a faster rate. So एक गलत है इसमें से. So answer would be C. Which of the following factor poses challenge to women employment in India? ये अलग से चूंकि उन्होंने एक लाइन में दिया हुआ था एक सर्वे में, तो I wanted you to know कि gender matters में climate change भी एक बहुत बड़ा factor है. Climate change, in fact, climate change should not be viewed locally. ये हर चीज़ को influence कर रहा है. And climate change की वजह से एक तो आपकी agriculture productivity is going to be reduced. Already it has been warned by one organization called IFPRI. International Food Policy Research Institute has warned that in the next few years, our agriculture productivity will witness a red drop. एक sudden drop होगा अगर हम ऐसे ही चलते रहे, because we are failing the target of 1.5 degree. और ये चीज़ें complex हैं. जैसे many of the things, अब पूरा आपका ecosystem disturb हो रहा है. I hope you knowing कि टेम्परेचर बढ़ने का मतलब सिर्फ यही नहीं कि आपको वार्मर हो गए, बहुत सारी चीज़ें बदल रही. एक तो सबसे बड़ी बात ये कि द इंटायर फ्लोरा फौना इज चेंजिंग. अब जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अभी आप देखो टर्टल्स को लेकर क्यों इश्यू आ रहा है इतना. टॉर्टॉइज के केस में इन मेनी ऑफ द रेप्टाइल्स टॉर्टॉइज व्हाट हैपेंस इफ द टेम्परेचर इज हायर देन एम्ब्रियो विल बी फीमेल, इफ टेम्परेचर इज लेसर देन एम्ब्रियो विल बी मेल. So a balance of temperature is required. That's why per 1000 female we have only 1 or 2 male tortoise now. ऑलिव टॉर्टॉइज को यूपीएससी इसलिए पूछा भी था वो जब इंडेंजर्ड लिस्ट में आए. सो देयर आर, ये एक एग्जांपल है. ऐसे बहुत सारी चीज़ें हो रही हैं क्लाइमेट चेंज की वजह से which we have to cater, and this is going to have adverse impact on the job market also. The data is showing that climate change is going to create adverse impact on female health as well. सो फीमेल जॉब मार्केट भी इससे, वुमेन का एम्प्लॉयमेंट इससे एडवर्सली इम्पैक्ट होगा, बिकॉज वी हैव जस्ट विटनेस दैट मोस्ट ऑफ द वुमेन एम्प्लॉयमेंट इज बीन क्रिएटेड इन टू द रूरल एरियाज. सो कहीं ना कहीं वी हैव टू बी केयरफुल. तो यस, दैट इज अ फैक्टर. जेंडर बायस टूल्स है, that's again United Nations, and Women is an organization working since 2010 under United Nations, is highlighting this कि still we are having various gender bias when it comes to providing tools and machineries and technologies. So वहाँ पे हमें थोड़ा सा gender bias tools जब तक आपके पास रहेंगे, छोटी छोटी बातें हैं which also should be considered. जैसे मैं आपसे पूछूं कि which type of migration is maximum in India? Rural to rural, rural to urban, urban to urban, or urban to rural? Rural to or rural to urban? Rural to rural. Why? Marriage. Social factor है. हम most of the time we are blind on these issues. हमारे जितने भी टूल, जब भी, आर वी जेंडर सेंसिटिव व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दीज थिंग्स? एम्प्लॉयमेंट की पॉलिसीज में आप बात कर रहे हो, आर वी जेंडर सेंसिटिव? मोस्टली नॉट. अब सोचिए क्या तमाशा है, थैंक्स टू दैट लेडी हु हैज रेज दिस इशू, और अब जाके जेंडर ऑडिट में चीज नजर आई. डू यू नो, वी हैड व्हाट इज कॉल्ड स्मोकिंग रूम एट द एयरपोर्ट्स, बट नॉट अ प्लेस फॉर लैक्टेटिंग मदर. स्मोकिंग रूम है, लेकिन लैक्टेटिंग मदर को एक प्राइवेसी चाहिए होती है, उसके लिए आपके पास प्लेस नहीं था. When this issue was raised in the under the gender audit, सब समझ में आया कि अरे इसकी तो हम बात ही नहीं करते. There are so many things we don't even talk about it. I'm sorry to say, आप बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जाते हो, I don't know about your organization also क्या सिचुएशन है. जब आप फर्स्ट एड किट की बात करते हो तो उसमें क्या क्या होता है? डिटॉल होता है, सफ्रामाइसिन होता है, उसमें कुछ वो एंटीबायोटिक हो सकता है. डू यू हैव एवर सीन एनी सैनिटरी टॉवल देयर? व्हाई? Gender bias tool. Why not sanitary towels? Why it should not be part of the first aid kit? अब मारुति सुजुकी ने शुरू किया इस बार से, probably this year onward जो कार मैन्युफैक्चर करेंगे उसमें in the first aid kit what's called sanitary towels also will be there. कितनी छोटी बात दिख रही है. This is what we call gender bias tools, कि हम इसकी बात नहीं करते. So वो सारी चीजें जो है वो वुमेन एम्प्लॉयमेंट को एडवर्सली इम्पैक्ट करती हैं. So then what is called limited financing, obviously that is something which is, and that's why credit financing and these kind of facilities, and then socio-cultural and geographic barrier तो है ही है, इसमें तो बताने की जरूरत नहीं, the whole patriarchy revolves around it. So these four, all the four are responsible. That's why I deliberately wanted you to acknowledge this question, कि चारों ही factor gender, तो जब भी आप आंसर लिखे on gender empowerment etc, you should be considering all the four. Even climate change is going to adversely impact gender employment, that you have to be careful. So answer is going to be D, all the four. What is the purpose of Skill India International Center? ये इसका जिक्र किया है इन्होंने, because we want, as I just told you, we want that we are creating that kind of skill certification so that कहीं भी अगर वो जाएं तो उनको दोबारा एग्जाम ना देना पड़े. That is something, you know, you might have heard in WTO, once they call mode 4 type of services. There are 4 types of mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4. Mode 4 is international labor movement. So we are pitching for it कि we should create that kind of thing. अच्छा, ये पिछले इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने इस बार तो सिर्फ एक बात की है. पिछले इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में we got a complete box for it, that how the center is going to look like, how the funding will be there, what are the sources. So last year's economic survey has talked about it. Here too you got just a reference of it. So that's why I wanted you to know at least this, that there is one thing called Skill India International Center. This Skill India International Center is something which is going to provide you those jobs which will make you capable for international mobility. So that is what it is the purpose. So to improve the international mobility of the Indian workforce. Sidha sidha hai. So this is how we got what is called Skill India International Centers. This is something which is definitely could be a game changer. As I told you, there are more requirements coming up in the Western Nordic countries. So Western countries, Eastern Europe, Nordic countries, we are going to have more jobs in future, and we are having an advantage here, upper hand here. एक हमारे पास upper hand है because we can speak in what's called different in different ways, and we can change our accent accordingly. ऐसा China is lagging here. Special programs introduce कर रहे हैं इसके लिए. हमारे पास वो naturally है that we can change our accent because of the biology and geographical areas we live in. So all these kind of things are favoring us. और इंडिया को चाहिए कि वर्ल्ड की जो डिमांड है, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, और मोड 4 is something, क्योंकि future job is not going to be this way, the way you are having these days. In future it will be on board jobs. जैसे अभी मैं क्या हूँ, आप यूनिवर्सिटी से जुड़े हुए हैं, लेट्स से मैं जो है यहाँ जुड़ा हुआ, यूनिवर्सिटी से जुड़ा हुआ, ये एक पुराना स्टाइल होने वाला जल्दी ही. अभी का आज के 10-15 साल बाद what is going to happen, what is going to the future market will be, there will be consultant, I will be on board on that. और उस कंसल्टेंट के पास दुनिया भर के क्लाइंट होंगे. किसी को भी ये टॉपिक विच आई नो पढ़ना होगा दुनिया में कहीं भी, मैं आज की सर आप रेडी हो, वहां जा सकते हो. दैट्स हाउ. सो कंसिडरिंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स वी नीड टू हैव दीज काइंड ऑफ सेंटर्स. That is what is called Skill India International Centers, where we are trying to make them capable of international mobility, and we want to make sure that they have not to give another test there. Because most of the time what happens, you have to pass a test there also. So that will be possible only when we are making world-class assessment system. So this is how we got when we talk about what is the purpose of a Skill India International Center. Now look at quickly this. Consider the following statement regarding periodical labor force data. Majority of the workforce has equivalent to or less than a secondary level of education. That's right. It's more than 90%, and that's unfortunate. Most take part in low competency occupation. That is also right. It's hovering around 80% plus, and that is something which is a matter of concern. Both of them are the matter of concern. So answer is going to be C. Here I have given a few questions. Again, you can look into this, that the rising female labor force participation rate in India presents both opportunity and challenge. What needs to be done, you can think of it, ki what kind of initiatives should be taken, and so. In the context of rapidly evolving job market, skilling, reskilling, इस पे ज़रूर कुछ ना कुछ आपको मेंस में मिलेगा, trust me. कि what about skilling, reskilling, upskilling, क्या क्या किया जा रहा है, what are the developments for the India's workforce, and talk about that how we can identify what could be the role of digital public infrastructure. Because if you have digital public, I hope you understand DPI. So we have one thing called India Stack. India Stack, keep a note of India Stack. So again here, due to limitation, I have not gone into those things, but survey ने उसका reference दिया है. So India Stack is something which talks about this digital public infrastructure, how robust that is going to be, because still we are hovering at 5%. And if you compare with Korea, 96%, Japan, more than 90%, China, more than 30%, USA, more than 40%, is clearly indicating we have to scale it up at a faster pace. Renewable energy sector, you know, this is where we are talking about how decentralized renewable energy. Smaller units should be there for, that's why solar plants and self-help groups in the solar energy, other kind of wind energy and other resources, renewable energy resources should be considered for energy transition purposes. ये मेंस में आप देख रहे हो एनर्जी पे सवाल लोग पूछ रहे हैं. They are asking questions on energy. So you should be, I think this year it's going to be nuclear energy, considering the debate over that. So these are the things, and these were two chapters I wanted to discuss with you. So this was about the social sector and about skill and employment. I hope the class was productive for you and this has benefited you. Thank you.